I'm amazing. I'm amazing. Oh, what the hell? Oh, he killed me.
I'm getting brutally slaughtered.
No, that was an accident. No, that was an accident. That was an accident. Oh, was that a triple collab? Get up! No! Ah! No! Get up! Get up! No! Oh! No! Why this happened to me? Oh. What did I do? It's an accident. Oh, what? What? Why? Why? What? I hate this game. I freaking hate this game. Anything. Oh, I fell. I did the water bucket thing. I did the water bucket thing.
Nice.
Don't touch him. No!
Last Pokemon left, and our full team still with us. The nerves were high, but seeing that it was a Torkoal gave us some relief.
Torkoal. I changed to the wrong guy. Hydro pump the hell out of him. Let's go!
Just like that, we defeated the champion of the Hoenn region in our first ever Pokemon Nuzlocke.
Yeah, oh my god. Look at my face. Wait. Oh, there we go. Jesus, it's still kind of a lot of brightness. Ah, could be better. No, what happened? Well, I'm happy you're still doing good. Jesus Christ, my face. Today we're gonna finally get back into the Nuzlocke, but before we do that, we're gonna do something different. What? Why did the music change? That was not supposed to happen. We're going to do something different. Okay? We will... You guys will see what it is. There was hints already, so it's okay. It snowed a lot, but then melted as soon as the sun came out. Okay. Yeah, it probably snowed here too. I just wake up so late that I probably missed it. I just saw salt on the floor and no snow. Nathan be like, yes! You want to hear something different, yeah? I was talking to a guy who might who seems like he might be the new editor. So we're gonna have an editor for the YouTube videos, hopefully. And yeah, wow, indeed. That should be pretty fun. Also, I really want to get some progress in with the Nuzlocke, because Jesus Christ, it is so annoying. It's so annoying. My dad woke me up at like 7 to 8 in the morning saying, look out the window, just to get pretty much dragged to the store. Oh. I woke up, God, it's 7 and 8 a.m. I was freaking sleeping like a baby, probably. No, why does it say unstable? Why Twitch? Is Twitch being bad boy right now? Hot dog is sandwich. Oh, you saw that video that came out today? Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to put daily vids out, guys. It should be going okay for now. Ugh. Alright. This is what we're doing today. Let's get, you know what? Let's get freaking straight. Hot dog is a sandwich. Actually, yes, Nathan, I agree with you. Let's get straight into it, okay? Okay, guys? It's all blurred, but today we're going to see if YouTube is listening in on us. Okay? That's what we're gonna do. I pressed the wrong button, though. Brother. Today we will see if YouTube is listening in on us 24/7 or not. We're going to repeat the same word 100 times and then click on a video to see what ad we get. Okay? Now we're on incognito, so we should be okay here. And we got some cool videos, I guess. We got like Zendaya or something. Mr. Beast, you know, kind of expected stuff. And the first word, okay, the first word that we're gonna try out today, right now, is gonna be feet. Okay, I'm gonna say feet 100 times, and then I'm gonna click on a YouTube video and see if we get an ad for something feet related. Alright? So, let me get my fingers ready. Click on this button. Feet, 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 feet. Oh, here's my face. Feet, 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 feet. Feet, 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 feet. Jesus Christ. Oh, we passed 69. Feet, 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 feet. Feet, 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 feet. Feet, feet, feet. Oh. There's a delay on the streams. Feet, 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 feet. Damn it. Feet. Okay. We have said feet many times now. It's on my face. Feet. Let's see what advertisement we get. Feet. Oh.
This is your bike. This is your journey.
Okay.
Let's go. We let the heart come to the party too.
Okay, okay.
Where we do it to the beat of the music.
You know, it's not exactly feet, but we got Soul Cycle at home bike. Bike have to do with feet. That's actually much more successful than I thought it would be. Like much more successful than I thought. I thought it was gonna be completely fail right here. I'm not gonna lie. Damn. Okay. Let's try something else, yeah? Let's try. You guys give me a word. Give me a word that I'll say 100 times and we'll see if an ad pops up for it. Any word. You could say bottle, hot dog, dinosaur. Ooh, that's a good one. That's more unique. That's a good one. Yeah, let's go dinosaur. Okay. Dinosaur, 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 dinosaur. Dinosaur, 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 dinosaur. Dinosaur, 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 dinosaur. I don't know how to say this word anymore. Dinosaur, 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 dinosaur. Dinosaur, 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 dinosaur. How much is that? Hey, that's 100. Okay, we're gonna go a little further because it's a more unique word. Yeah, let's go 150. Dinosaur, 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 dinosaur. Dinosaur, 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 dinosaur. Is that the word? Dinosaur, 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 dinosaur. What? Dinosaur, 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 dinosaur. Dinosaur, 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 dinosaur. Hey, no. This is not copyright free. I can't put that song. 150 freaking dinosaurs, baby. 150 freaking dinosaurs. Okay, let's see what happens.
If you only list your vacation home on Airbnb, you might attract someone looking for a quaint little studio.
No way.
But if you list it on Vrbo, you'll attract families looking for a bit more. And who spend over twice as much more.
Okay.
Your dream guests await.
Dinosaur didn't order.
Vrbo host today.
Oh, wait. Dinosaur. Sir. And there's a sir in the video. It worked, guys. There's a guy in the video. Sir. Dinosaur. And also, it's like a jungle background. That's where dinosaurs would be. Yeah, obviously that didn't work that well. Okay, obviously. But the algorithm does that. No, next word is, I'm not gonna do that word. Sorry, even if it's a real word. Next. Let's get the guitar in. Let's sing a song. Yeah. If we sing a song to YouTube, we'll get something sexy back. What should it be about? Pokemon? All right, let's sing a song about Pokemon. Show me some Pokemon ads. Show me some Pokemon ads. Show me Pokemon ads.
Wow. You can do it.
Thanks. Show me some Pokemon ads. Pokemon.
Monkey do okay. Monkey do pretty okay. I guess. Monkey do good. Monkey do very good.
Pokemon. You're ruining it. Pokemon, 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 Pokemon. Show me a Pokemon ad. Show me a Pokemon ad. I like Pokemon, so show me an ad. Don't disappoint us. Pocket Monster, Pokemon ad. Dragonite, Pokemon ad. Ugh. I gotta drink. Stretch and extreme strength. Oh, Jesus, that cracked. Okay. Gotta get the legs out. Oh, there's the stretch. Pokemon, Pokemon, Pokemon. We just sung about Pokemon. Let's see what ad we get. Pokemon, Pokemon.
Liberty Mutual presents songs to save $665 by.
This isn't Poke.
Get MailChimp's advanced yet easy-to-use tools and start leading more customers down the path to purchase.
Okay. So far we repeated a word. The first one kind of worked for feet. All right, maybe it was just cool. You know, now we just played a song. We gotta change stuff up. We gotta tell a story. Let me tell a story. I'm gonna talk about a story about Japan. Let's see if we get a something related to Japanese ad. Okay. Let me try a story. Okay. Let me think. So I lived in Japan for 2 years of my life. Okay. I lived in Japan for that long. 2 years of my life. Teaching English to a bunch of spoiled asses. No, I'm joking. The kids were great. I taught in Japan for 2 years. I taught 3rd graders. Let's go. 4th graders, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. 4 schools. Japan, English. I taught English in Japan. 4 freaking years, baby. What's up, G? Okay. Japan. I love Japan. I lived in Japan. I taught in Japan. I ate Japanese food in Japan. I ate food in Japan. I ate people out in What? Nope. I had friends in Japan. So my story is all about freaking Japan. Give me some Japanese advertisement, baby. Japanese advertisement. Come on. Japanese advertisement. Japan.
Hello, everyone, and welcome.
You didn't give me an advertisement. Stupid woman. Japanese. Oh my god, the advertisements are gone. No! Japan. Oh, here we go. Oh. Okay. It could be a Roblox in Japan. It could be Roblox in Japan. Is it Roblox in Japan? It's 180 countries. Japan's in that country probably. Japan's Japan. What's up, Dino?
Hey, you, stop scrolling.
Ooh, this
Are you
one.
supposed to be working right now? Probably.
Japan.
Let me tell you a secret. You have been wasting so much time.
Oh my god, it's gonna be about
Japan.
Japan. Can be about
If you just
Japan.
dragged and dropped your PDFs that you need to read into Speechify, you could listen to them
Damn
as
it!
they were your own custom audiobook.
Enter Speechify, a reading assistant powered by artificial intelligence and deep learning, and designed consciously for students and working
Teaching in
professionals
Japan has
who
some
want
kind
to
of
get more done.
problems. It can, yeah.
Speechify
Ban
does the
him to
reading
it,
for you,
Japan.
so you can
You've been
spend
streaming,
less
but you don't know
energy
Japanese
reading and more
snacks. I know
energy
some
comprehending.
Japanese snacks.
Choose your
What am I
listening
doing?
speed. Start at 230
We're seeing if
words
YouTube
per minute
listens
and
to
build
us
500
to see
words per minute,
the
which
ads.
is 2.5 times
You'll see in a
faster than
second,
most people
watch.
read. Choose from a range of incredible voices that use human inflection,
God
so
damn
you
it,
can
there's
stay
no
engaged
Japan
without
here.
getting tired.
Hey,
Don't
this
have enough
this
time
has to do with
finish.
language
Take
though.
your reading on the go
Japanese
with a
is a
single
language, okay?
Installation is
So I call
simple
that
and free.
I call that a
Who
win.
is the current God Monkey holder?
Speechify today at speechify.com.
Diego's the current God Monkey. Okay, that wasn't a total fail. I'm gonna say that's a half win. Okay, I would say that's a half win.
Hello there.
Okay, I'd say it's a half win. Okay, so far we've said words over 100 times. Okay, we played on guitar. We even said a story. We had story time, and the ads weren't really correlating with what we were saying, which means we only have one option left. We're going to have to say a word 1,000 times, but not in English, in Japanese. We're gonna say a Japanese word 1,000 times to see if YouTube will have an ad related to that word or that language. Let's do it. Doctor is not here currently. I don't think so. Can you make Pink play Pocket Mirror, please? Oh. Okay. Let's do this. You guys ready? You guys ready? What word should we use? Let's go with... Actually... Yeah. To make things better, I have a Japanese dictionary. Alright, so we're gonna go to a random word to make it random. Random freaking word. I got it. We got maguro, which means tuna. It's a simple enough word. Alright? Tuna. Maguro. We will say maguro 1,000 times. Maguro, 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 maguro. Maguro, 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 maguro. Maguro, 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 maguro. I'll go with heat. Maguro, 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 maguro. Thank you, Chi. Maguro, 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 maguro. Maguro, 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 maguro. Maguro, 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 maguro. Maguro, 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 maguro. Maguro, maguro, maguro. Maguro, 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 maguro. 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 Maguro, 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 maguro. Maguro, maguro. Maguro, maguro, maguro. This is so annoying. Maguro, 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 mackerel. Don't ruin me. Maguro, 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 maguro. Maguro, 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 maguro. Can I use it in a sentence? Maguro daisuki desu. Maguro daisuki desu. Maguro daisuki desu. Maguro, 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 maguro. Watashi wa maguro daisuki desu yo. Maguro, 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 maguro. あなたはマグロ好きですか？マグロ、マグロ、マグロ。Yes, I love マグロ。マグロ、マグロ、マグロ。マグロ、マグロ、マグロしてますか？日本語話せますか？マグロ、マグロ、マグロ、マグロ、マグロ、マグロ、マグロ。マグロ、マグロ、マグロ、マグロ。マグロ、マグロ、マグロ、マグロ、マグロ、マグロ、マグロ。マグロ、マグロ、マグロ、マグロ、マグロ、マグロ、マグロ、マグロ。マグロ、マグロ、マグロ、マグロ。This form of deja vu, what does that mean? Maguro, 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 maguro. I'm feeling tired of saying maguro. I'm feeling good though. Thanks for asking. How are you, Chi? Phone lockbox is going great. Maguro, 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 maguro. Anime deja vu speed song? I don't even know what that is. Maguro, maguro. I saw you were streaming earlier, Dinao, but I was busy, unfortunately. I jumped in and then you stopped streaming. What were you streaming? Maguro, maguro, maguro. Perfectly fine. Nice. Maguro, 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 maguro. Nihongo, nihongo. 今は日本語で話します。maguro, maguro, maguro. You're not new. Maguro, 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 maguro. Baby, don't hurt. Maguro, 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 maguro. Your guru, maguro, 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 maguro. We're just gonna go to 500 here. 1,000's too much, actually. Maguro, 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 maguro. Maguro, 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 maguro. 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 Maguro, 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 好きですよ、マグロ、マグロ、好きですよ、マグロ、マグロ、マグロ、マグロ、マグロ。Maguro, maguro, 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 maguro. Almost 100 left. Maguro, 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 maguro. Such an annoying word. Maguro, 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 Maguro. 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 Thank you for the follow, Zake. Maguro. Eres hermano de... Yes, I am the brother of Albert Einstein. Maguro. Maguro. I'm gonna hate Tuna after this. Maguro. Maguro 好きですよね。Maguro. Maguro. 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 Oh, Maguro. 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 I don't really speak much Spanish. From school, I know a little bit. Maguro, 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 maguro. Maguro. Yes, Chi. Maguro. 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 Thank you, Zake. Maguro. Maguro. Maguro? Maguro? Maguro. 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 Final 8. Maguro. 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 See if that did anything. Maguro. 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 Ooh. What's with these half-naked men?
Everything you've seen me do.
Isn't that a basketball player?
Possible by what you don't see.
Maguro.
Because when you're not looking.
Maguro. Tono.
Go to work.
Guro. Tono. Is that Maguro? Tono.
It's grown.
I was talking about basketball earlier. I guess so. Yeah.
No matter who you are.
Maguro.
Or how far you've come.
That's not Maguro. Okay, we got another chance. We got another chance.
There's always more work to be done.
Unless he has a tuna in his pants, if you know what I mean.
We all have the strength.
It's
up to us to unlock it.
Maguro.
Be your strongest.
Okay, second. We have one more chance. There's one more ad, guys. We have one more chance. Okay? One more chance. Ooh, okay. It's a car. It's a car. Well, we tried. Let me know in the comments if YouTube has ever heard you and what you said and then given you an ad for it. Thanks for watching and see you next time.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. You should try Insurgents. Try Nuzlocke. Nah, I don't think anything will work at this point. Saying one word 500 times didn't work, so yeah. We will go to the Nuzlocke now though, okay? So that should be fun. Whew. Jesus. That was not successful. That was fun though. It was fun to do. It's funny too. My voice is like dead. We're gonna start doing more stuff like that at beginning of streams. The tier lists, different challenges, stuff like that. That'll be for YouTube content, and then we're gonna go into the Nuzlocke. I mean, you should try the game. Yeah, I know what you meant. Insurgents will do I told you we'll play Insurgents eventually. We're gonna play Pokemon. We've been on a NUZLOCKE for some time now. I made 69 more files. Okay, 69 more files. So it should be good. Jesus, I gotta drink water after that. Ice monolock equals scary. I don't know. Just changing the category. Yeah, I'm still trying to get ice Pokemon, bro. I keep losing. I suck. Yeah, I'm still failing. Well, to be fair, last week, because I was sick, I'm still a little sick, but we didn't stream for a couple of days. But we went 10 streams, and the furthest we got was the 5th gym. What's up, doctor? How are you? You guys always want to gamble. Tomorrow's thing is gonna be crazy. By the way, look at that reset counter. 100 resets. Isn't that crazy? Oh, you guys are gonna bet? Okay. Let's do prediction. We're gonna flip a coin.
Hello?
My prediction button is not working. What's up, Yesek? Yeah. Gomen nasai. How are ya? How is life? How's the new job? Hi, Yesek. Hi, Yesek. Is going better than the Fire Red Hardcore Nuzlocke? No. It's the hardest one. Ice Pokemon are so hard to use. And because it's hardcore. The Fire Red Hardcore one was definitely easier. I think it was my first hardcore, that's why it was bad. But this is just like very hard. You'll see in a second why it's hard, like probably. But basically, Ice Pokemon have so many weaknesses. And because every Pokemon's randomized, it's just crazy. I had to, Yesik. I had to. I warned you. I told you on Discord. Oh yeah, prediction. Oh yeah, sorry. I forgot about the prediction. Heads or I tried to press a button for it, but the button wasn't working right now, so I'll have to do it manually, which is fine. We have 1 minute for you guys to predict. Monotype hardcore soul lock. Jesus. I will do a soul lock eventually as well. But let's try to get through this monotype hardcore Nuzlocke first. The students are women and they ask for a female teacher. What? That sucks. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't stream in the last days of December. I got really sick. I was like dying, but I'm good now. Yeah, but what? You're gonna make up all those hours the last few days? If yes, then sumimasen, I apologize. I gotta keep to the rules, you know? I scammed 1.5k without from Nathan. Oh yeah, Happy New Year's, Dinelle and Yesik, Jasik and Chi. For Doctor, I already said to him the other day, and Nathan, I think, and Prince, or did I? Whatever. Happy New Year, everyone. I wanted to ban Doctor. Lol. Okay, Feliz Año Nuevo. Slightly rigged towards Tails. Alright, are we doing this? Are we doing this, baby? Are we doing this, baby? Let me just go over to this. Alright. The reason I did that, you guys will understand. Okay? I did that for this. You guys ready? You guys freaking ready, baby? Are you ready? Are you ready? Heads or tails? Heads or freaking tails? This doesn't count. This doesn't count. You're not ready? Well, you better become ready. What do you mean you can't see? You could see now. You could see now. This is the fight of the century for 3,000 points, I think. I don't know. Will it be heads or tails? People have put in their bets already. Pressing flip again. 3, 2, 1. I'm scared. Let's go. It's flipping. It's flipping. And it's tails. It's freaking tails. Oh my god. It is tails, ladies and gentlemen. Tails won. Tails. Who got tails in? Where's the Bhutan? Manage prediction. There it is. Choose outcome. Tails. Damn! 13,700 points being rewarded. Sheesh! I went to a bar New Year's and it was crazy. Nice! What happened? Haven't been on stream for a long time. You haven't! It's so awesome to see you here, Chi. You don't even understand how... Yeah! Especially since you like Pokemon. So, you know, it's good content. Studying Chinese, very nice. I hope it's head so Dinel can get rich quick. It is way more than 3.5k. I didn't realize you guys put so much. Dinel lost. The song sounds mad nice. I was just chewing on an ice block wrapper. I was that nervous. Yo, this song's mad good. Can you send it to me on Discord? It sounds so good. You got 4.6k because... Oh, I've heard this song before. Deja vu, yeah, it sounds mad nice. I've just been physically unable to watch for a while. No worries, no worries. No worries. Because of school? I got my points back. I'm dumb. And because of the time difference, right? After Australian, the time switch, I remember that's when you said the hours were bad for you. The math is based off everyone who put in points, so you could get more than you put in, I think. I don't know. Ah, no ice Pokemon. Okay, that's how this works. No ice starter. Restart. And then to restart, I have to like press all the files together, which is a little annoying. But it's not that bad. I found a way to minimize the time to do that. So I'm just like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we're back. Except right now, we're not back. Okay, here we go. Deja vu! Bada bing! I just forgot about the points I put in. Oh. School and 2 Christmases. 2 Christmases. Damn, how was Christmases this? Next time maybe I'll win, true. I know that. Rooting for you now, I'm just spending all my points on for infinite buyout. Damn! I can't. Why don't you save up for God Monkey when it comes back? Ooh, that's a good idea, no? Maybe I shouldn't have brought it up. Venusaur. So usually with a ice starter, we're pretty okay. But we need to get a second ice Pokemon before the before the second gym. Before the first gym, preferably, but you know, can't control it. No, 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 no. The song's so freaking catchy. What the hell? Deja vu, I'll touch you in your butt. Oh, if you ask. Okay. If you think infinite biome molds are better, then it is what it is. I can't believe we're at 101 resets. It's like 101 Dalmatians. I never expected that to happen. What's that song that goes? I like that song. Do you guys know what song I'm talking about? I can't sing right now. Running in the 90s. Yeah. One of you guys put that. Was it you, Prince? That put it the first time? Yeah, you guys should redeem. You should song request that song. It's a good song. I had school to finish, which I went back out of lockdown, meaning I couldn't watch. And then I had Christmas with my Oma. What's Oma? Is that Australian for grandma? Then I had Christmas with my mum's family. Mum. Oh yeah, mum. Right. British, Australian. Everyone says mum, right? Hey, thank you, Chi. Then I had Christmas with my mum's. Both of them were good. It's exhausting. Gotcha. On my dick. Okay. She said oma. Amma. She didn't say unma. Gotcha, Prince. Amma is Dutch. Dutch for grandma. Oh, okay. I'll try to remember that. Dutch for grandma. Amma. This song I've also heard before. Call me Big P, baby. Ice. Oh! Oh, yes. We got so lucky. We're going to have to go up against a legendary, I think, though. Okay, that's good. That's good. This is actually a good starter. Blubby 3.0. Yeah, exactly. Let's go. Blubby 3.0. Okay. Let's see what happens. A Walrus Bealtaria. Not too bad. Wow, what do you mean? A Walrus Bealtaria. Blubby will live forever until it doesn't. It's also Polish and some other language. Oh, that's cool. Oma. Oma sounds Korean. I think they say that in Korean for mother or something. Don't lose the run before I get back. I can't promise anything. Okay. A freaking legendary. Okay. I definitely cannot promise anything here, okay? But I will try my best. Okay? I will try my best to win this fight. Powder Snow should be the best move here. Come on, Blubby 3.0. Water Sport. Okay, we'll take it. We'll freaking take it, baby. Yeah, Weaken Fire. It's better for me. Okay, Powder Snow is not very effective. Let's try Water Gun. Water Gun. Okay, Bubble. It's not too... Oh, it only did 2 damage. Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, that's actually better than I expected. Yeah, we're gonna try to freeze Fiona right now, okay? Listen, it's a battle between Bubble and frickin' Powder Snow. Dutch pronunciation is Omar. Omar. I know a guy named Omar. Quickly, Ping Pong. Lose the run before Doctor goes on. Yu Yu Hakusho ending. Oh, cool. My friend loves that show. Lemon Icicle? Maybe. We'll see. Depends who it is. I make no promises. Yes! Frozen. Stupid Fiona. Look at your stupid face. We're gonna win for sure now. Get out of here, Fiona. Ugly princess Fiona. Sorry. I didn't. Fiona. Stupid Fiona. Yes. Yes. We won, baby. Let's go. Look at that XP, too. Freaking crazy XP because we went up against the legendary. I'm playing Brilliant Ormar. Ah. Then I found I can get Mew and Jirachi. Yes. My cousin literally got a Let's Go. He rented it on Amazon. Gave it to me. So I could get Mew. And I already had Pokemon Sword and Shield, so I got Jirachi. Or vice versa, whatever. But yeah. Damn, that sucks. That sucks, G. Oh, Doctor applauded. Yeah, so yeah, we didn't lose the run by the time he came back. Oh, okay, this is good. This is good. I don't want to get too excited. Best case scenario, of course, we run into Kyurem in Route 1 or 2, whatever. Route 1, I guess. Or 2, I think. And we catch the Kyurem in 1 Pokeball. I'll lose soon, don't worry. One day you'll get one of those games, and then you'll be able to... Oh no, I guess you can't get it now, right? Damn, that sucks. Or part of it is literally pronounced the way you say or. Oh, Ormar. Cool. Please don't be a ice. Okay, good. Because this we can't. The first encounter doesn't count because we have no Pokeballs yet. But ooh, is this Pokemon? Oh no, this is running in the 90s. It sounds like Pokemon music. Ormar. 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 Yeah? Ormar. 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 Armor. 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 Ormar. Ormar. It's probably Ormar, right? My voice is going crazy today from saying Orma. Orma? Orma. Okay. You know what I call my grandma? I call her grandma. I call her nothing because she's dead. No, I'm joking. It's messed up. I call my grandma by her. I call her Dede, which means like mother of mothers in Hebrew, I think. Dede. Grandma sounds like you need to get some better grandma. So funny. Yo, this song's so catchy. No one said, oh, nice shave, ping pong monsters. No one said nice haircut. No, I got a haircut a while ago. So now, because every Pokemon is randomized, we're just basically going to be searching in the grass. Not too long, but a good amount of time for some ice Pokemon. Some runs I spend way too long looking for ice Pokemon in the grass. And some runs not enough. But yeah. I do want to dye my hair again, for sure. Right now, all of my friends are sick. Everyone is sick. So I'm not sure yet when. This is a Nuzlocke, yes. That's a great point. So this is a Nuzlocke with some weird rules, okay? So basically, every rule of a regular Nuzlocke, except first encounter per route, doesn't apply. But the first ice encounter applies. So if I run into a Kyurem right now, I only have right now to catch it. If I don't catch it, if I kill it, or if I run away, whatever, then I can never catch a Kyurem for the rest of the game. So it's a bit weird. But other than that, it's like a normal Nuzlocke, I guess. Why are you allowed to time out Streamlabs? That is really weird. Wait, you could time out... Wait, Mime Jr. Wait, Mime Jr. is not... I get so confused sometimes. Wait, Mime Jr. doesn't matter, right, guys? Dude, what confuses me is that, like... I don't know why, but Mr. Mime and Jinx always confuse me. But Mr. Mime is not ice. He's psychic. What is he? Psychic dark? I forget. Doesn't matter. I love upscale 3DS Pokemon games. Hell yeah. Yeah. Do it. Time out Streamlabs. Actually, time them out. I kind of want to see what happens if you time out Streamlabs. It doesn't work? Oh, okay. I love upscale 3DS. Yeah, hell yeah. I figured it was time to go to another... Because every single Nuzlocke we've done up until now was on 2D models. So I figured 3D model would be nice. And some people really like Pokemon Y, X and Y, like Diego and Cortez. Psychic Fairy. I always forget fairy types. Yeah, that's right. Psychic Fairy. Why do I think dark? Psychic Fairy. Thank you for the pet. Pet Kojima. We'll go for a few more encounters and then verse the first guy. I found a girlfriend for you. What? Yeah, sure. I'm interested. What's her name? You were kindly provided by a perfectly safe ROM of it. Arigatou gozaimasu, chi. I mean, what I meant to say was, yes, I was very, very lucky to have a beautiful ROM hack provided to me, along with other ROM hacks, which I will definitely use. Thank you very much, that person. LA? Who's LA? Whom? Yo, I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know the difference between who and whom. Cause they were. Who said I gave them? Yeah, I know. I never said that. So. Did I hear LA? No, I didn't. No one said LA. I said L, because Dinelle said L. Bro, LA sucks. I don't know the difference either. Yeah, but you weren't an English teacher like me. You're a 15-year-old child. It's okay if you don't know. I'm a 24-year-old English teacher. I should know. But age is just a no, that's not a good saying. 14. Oh, okay, sorry. New York City sucks dick. You said it wrong. You said suck dicks. Yeah, New York City does suck dicks because there's a lot of gay people in New York. Do you have a problem with gay people? Huh? It's kind of messed up, Nathan. That's where's my button? Messed up, bro. Whom refers to? I don't know. I just remember someone in one of my elementary classes pronouncing it wom. Yes, wom is where babies are made. She's 26 and lived in Japan and knows Japanese. Yeah, but is she a sugar mama? If she doesn't have money, Dinelle, I cannot be with her. I am not rich, so I must be with someone who is rich. I'm just joking. She's not rich? Ew? Bruh? Come on. Who do you think I am? I'm just joking. I mean, that doesn't mean she's perfect. We're perfect for each other, but okay. I'm pop British. Yeah. You know how I know that? Because all Australians are pretty much British. I move ear and crump base. I don't even know what that means. She likes memes. Okay, that's like everyone on the internet. She does hate the Jews. Yeah, that's well, we might have a little bit of a problem there then. I mean, I hate the Jews too. Don't get me wrong. But you know, my parents, they kind of, you know, they're Jewish, so you know, it's okay though. Yeah, we'll work something out. Ooh, new encounter, Bisharp. It's really weird because all the encounters are supposed to be completely randomized, but they're not. I'm like a 4th British, and then I have a ridiculous amount of different lineage. Like Polish, right? I remember you possibly telling me once, but I don't remember all your other lineages. Donkey Kong December is not here anymore, bro. That or 1/3 British. Gotcha. Da 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 boo da 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 ba ba boo boo ba do da 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 boo boo ba do da 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 da. What's her blood? Yeah, what's her blood type? That's actually very important for Japanese people. Trust me, I don't remember most of them. Then I feel less bad about remembering. We can buy a house and not apartments for the same price? Yeah. New York is very expensive. That is true. But how many people are moving out of Cali and going to, like, Texas? Then again, people moving out of New York going to Florida, so I don't know.
Caught in 4K.
Why was I caught in 4K? She B-? Oh, I'm B. I think I'm B-. I don't remember. I'm B something. She likes that one song that you sing in karaoke in Japan. Wait, really? Bro, you're just making shit up. ¿Cuántas kidneys tiene? How many kidneys do you need? More than one, I think, is good. Looks more like 720. Hey, it's 1080p. Or maybe 720, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys a story, okay? Story time pink. Alright, you guys want story time pink? I don't care if you want it or not. I'm giving you story time pig, okay? We're gonna go to story time pig. Okay? Story time pig. When I was in Japan, there was a teacher who was like, what's your blood type, right? So I'm like, okay, you know, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know much about blood types, right? So I'm like, okay, you know, whatever. But I know what blood type I was. To be honest, I don't remember my blood type, but it was B something, okay? Okay? So the whole class starts guessing what type I am, okay? And they freaking they guessed that I was here, let me just bring this here, okay? I don't know if you guys could see this well. They were like, okay, you're probably not A. Okay. Oh, they literally guessed I was B. Okay, this is a bad story time. Basically, they guessed that I was B and I was B, and the teacher's like, "Yeah, of course you're B," and they said because I was selfish and uncooperative, but like in a joking way, or they said something like relative to this. I don't know if they said that exact thing, but in a joking way, right? And I'm like, bruh, that's kind of messed up. That was a terrible story. I didn't remember exactly what they said. I'm not gonna lie. Now I'm for real. She was singing it and it reminded me of you. And then she talked about how she learned Japanese and lived in Japan. And I'm like, that's Pink. And you're like, I got a perfect guy for you. And she's like, I'm a lesbian. And then you're like, oh, okay. Or she's like, I'm straight, but after seeing Pink's face, I became a lesbian. Ahaha. And then, yeah. Anyway. Fuck, apparently we don't get a choice. How do you know what it is? My dad died because we could remember his blood type. He kept telling us to be positive, but it's really hard since it's fasting. What the hell, doctor? Who asks, is that joke old? Oh, ad? Oh, I'm sorry. It was a bad story, okay? I know how, however, it is relevant to the conversation. It was a bad story. She's real nice and she lives in New York? Bro, are you talking about my sister? My sister's 26. She streams. She lives in New York. She went to Japan. No, I'm joking. All right, I'll retell the story. There's not really much to say, to be honest. But basically, I was in Japan and the teacher tried to guess my blood type and she guessed B because people with B blood type are like looked down upon or like unconventional to society. And she's like, yeah, I knew you would be that. Like jokingly, like you're just like, you're a weirdo and you're like weird. And the class was like jokingly saying stuff like that too. That's the story. It's a bad story. I don't remember exactly what she said. That's why it's a bad story. It's Pinget. Ah, my sister Pinget. Stop the spam, Streamlabs. Ping is selfish, and that means it's negative and pieces of shit. Yeah. No way there's an ad again. No way. No way. Wait, what is this considered? Route 2? It is, okay. Guys, you think I could become a speedrunner in this game? Pixie play. Pixie useless. I can confirm there is another ad? Wait, how could you confirm you're subbed? You don't get ads. It says why Twitch stop giving ads? The game has been frozen. Oh shit, it actually has been frozen. Wait, actually, thank you for saying that. What the hell? Alright. Thank you very much for that. I'm gonna exit. I just saved. I'll exit. What the hell's going on? Twitch. I can't even blame Twitch for that one. What the hell? What the hell? Okay, let's try to that's actually what? This has not happened before. There we go. Huh? Huh? Why is it lagging? The game is not lagging on my game, but it's lagging on OBS. I swear to Jesus, I'm going to punch something in the face. This has happened before. Once. The first time I tried to play. The first time. And then the next time, it just fixed itself. So, you know what I'm going to do? There's 2 emulators I could use. I'm going to use the other one. Okay. And before that, I'm actually going to fix everything in life. There we go. Okay. Nothing should be showing. Good. Now I press. Work. You stupid ass OBS. Oh. What the hell? I have to like double click on it on Discord. That's so dumb. It only works if I'm like playing on through what? I mean through OBS, not Discord. This is like so frustrating. You're hard, that's why Doctor is mod. Nice. No, I love this song. It's fine. Her favorite Pokemon is coughing. Then I don't want to talk to her. That's good. Pink looks just like her favorite Pokemon. Is one of the emulators Citra? It is Citra. Yes. It was working perfectly every single stream except the first stream I tried to do it on. It was exactly like this, where it was just not working for some reason. On OBS, it works on I'm playing the game. The game's working, but it's not showing you guys the game, and I have no idea why. So, see, if I open the window, then it works. But I don't want to be forced to like have the window open at all times that I'm playing. That's really dumb. Let's try this. Like, it just makes no sense. It's the same thing for the other window. You know what? I'll just keep it open for now. I'll just keep it open. God damn it. Stupid ass OBS. Sorry, I'm pretty cursed. It's okay. Wow, Volcarona. That's literally not what I want. I show you the game. I show you a game. Ping looks just like her favorite. Wait, I look like a coughing? Why do I? Because I keep coughing? Yo, coughing's sexy, okay? She has good taste in men. Or something. You guys could see the game now, right? Only problem is I'm playing... Bro, stop lying. It ain't Frozen. It ain't freaking Elsa Frozen, bro. It's not Frozen. One part of it is definitely Frozen, though, but I can't... I think it is, right? What the right screen is Frozen. Okay, I'm gonna test it again to see if it freezes, and it freezes. Why? You stupid whore. That's not very nice. I apologize. Like, look. Every time it freezes, it's because I'm testing it out. Like, I don't get it. Yeah. Change and change back. Turn on and off. I'm trying everything in the book. It's a horsey. Alolan Grimer kind of cute. Alolan Grimer's ugly. We made a tier list on that. Check out the YouTube video for daily uploads. We're daily uploading now. Does having the tab not full screen but in the background work? Taconi Manaya. Latios. Not full screen but in the background. Which tab? Right now, so the emulator's not even in full screen. I don't have it in full screen. It only works if I click straight on the OBS properties thing. I've never, like, this is so stupid and weird, but it is what it is. It's not that big of a deal, to be honest. The only thing is the second screen is not working. I like this. I'm spamming Z with the power of anime by my side. See, we still get a new encounter here with Slow King, which is really weird. Guess what? Chicken butt. What? What's up? How was your New Year's, by the way? You did anything cool? You got a date this Saturday? Hey! Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. That is like so cool. Oh, that's awesome. Good for you, bro. Is it with my mom again? I hope not. Bro, I don't know why I keep testing this out. I should just accept that it's broken. Let's see if let's see if I minimize OBS. I guess that's what you were saying, yeah, doctor? If I minimize OBS, yeah, it's not freezing. Oh, okay. It's fine like this then. Chat frozen on the over. What's going on? What's going on? I'm not frozen now. Man's always on the up. The fruit? Wait, which fruit? Wait, chat is frozen though. There's a chat's not showing. Nande? Nande? Why is this happening to me? I thought I was a good boy. I'm looking for the thing with the chat. Alright, I'm gonna press a button now, guys. Don't get scared. Gonna go to my face. Okay, it shows here. Oh, this is in the left ear and right ear. In English and Japanese, right ear. I like this song. That she showed. Where's the chat? Refresh? Okay, I refreshed it. Test. What the fuck? Bro, nothing is working today. Feels bad, man. Can you guys fix my whole computer? And the badges went away. What? You guys see that? The badges went away. The badges were showing before. What's going on? What the hell? What the hell's going on? I'm getting triggered. Yeah, OBS. I literally... my brain cannot compute what the hell is going on right now. My computer is having a bad year and she is cursed. Oh my god. I'll reach chat in a second. Let me try to at least get the badges working. What the hell? Like, what the frick, bro? Like, step, bro. Oh my god, this is so frustrating. I put time and effort. I put time and effort on this, you know? Now, what the hell? I fixed that and Huh? 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 It must be something on Stream Elements. for the chat not to work. Or OBS is just peeing on my face, bro. What the hell's going on? I'm about to cry. I'm about to be the wolf that cried sheep. Okay, let me go to alerts. Alerts. Oh, now the chat works. What? So now everything but the game. Okay. We'll fix one thing at a time. It is what it is. This is so dumb. Okay. Alright. Alright, we're back. We're back. Nice emotes. Try moving the DN. What is DN? DN Hernandez guy, yeah. My New Year, we spent it with a bunch of people, being my family, part of my mom's family, and part of the cult that is with my mom. Okay. We lit some sparklers, watched some fireworks kilometers out in the bush. Oh, nice. Someone do fire and just sat around. Nice. That sounds awesome. My New Year's kind of sucked. It was just blah. We watched it late also on the news or whatever, and we saw it late. But emotes do work. Rusent, yes. It's probably because we banned Streamlabs. Yo, true. As a cat girl, I don't have rights to not be cursed. Sheesh. Are you an actual cat girl? Oh my god, that is crazy. It works now, but Pokemon is frozen. Bro, everything's working. Everything working. Pago. Bottom screen is supposed to be frozen. It used to move, but it only moves for if whenever I do randomizers, I have to put it manually, unfortunately. Are you setting ping up with Garfield? Ooh, Garfield's kind of hot. She hates Mondays. No, I like Mondays. We can't get along. Ooh, Andrew Garfield. Ooh. Rip in peace. True. The reason why I didn't put Walrein down is because I don't trust that this run is a good run yet. If we make it past the second gym, then I'll put the Pokemon we have. Oh, the cat Garfields? Oh. The cat Garfield's alright. Nothing special. If you ask me. But no one's asking me anything, so. So, yeah. Oh my god, you saw that? The badge just went crazy again. It just refreshed. And the chat went away again. When I pressed the zoom in button, everything refreshed. Why did it refresh? Huh. I'm understanding things now. Guys, I think I understand. Oh, because I put it so it shuts down the source when it's not visible. Wait. Maybe that's why? Multi-adapter compatibility. That must be why, right? But that doesn't explain why Pokemon lags. That explains why everything else lags. I love this freaking song so much, guys. Wait, that doesn't explain anything. If I press this, yo, what's up, guys? It's Ping Pong Master. Oh? It worked and then stopped. You know what? I'll figure it out off stream. We'll just leave it like this right now. Stupid Whalmer. Never mind, she'll hate you. Yeah, I actually hate cats, bro. I'm allergic to cats. Cats, bro. When I was walking. Is she walking though? Through the clouds. Does she like does she play the does she play every girl I've been into since I was a kid, which is like 3 girls? Well, not every, but most of them are musicians. Is she a musician? That would be a big one for me, you know. Flying on the wind. Trying to set him up with this mother father. Who's this?
Yellow tape around his body.
Whoa, he's dead. I hate Mondays. Oh, was that the joke? Oh, no. Nah, Club Penguin's better. I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah, you could die, Garfield. I don't care. Die. Anything. Oh, I just realized you guys couldn't really see that. Oopsies. I had to press the button. The button. You know, you would think that I found all the Pokemon on this route, but I probably haven't. It's really weird how the randomizer works. We'll go like a good amount of Pokemon more. Club Penguin is very poggers. True. Yes, Doctor. Wow, you were getting me excited for a real human being, Dino. And you're just trying to set me up with a freaking cat. I'm allergic to cats, bro. Otherwise, I would smash, but... Alright, let's move on. Get my Pokemon... Oh. She's a cat girl? Oh. Kind of a... I don't want to be with no cat girls. Yo, Haikyuu, let's go! Last night I watched 5 episodes of Season 4. You see? We haven't ran into Swablu before. It's really weird how the randomizer works. Ain't nothing wrong with beat. Oh, I did the wrong zoom. There we go. Sometimes. She ain't nothing wrong with beat. I don't even know what that means. She's a cat girl? Oh. Oh, here's the Mormon girl. Give me my ball. Hide your dogs. I have one dog. Bestiality. Nothing wrong with that, right? But Penguin is very poggers. I can't wait till it comes back. Never. I have to stop reading backwards. I'm sorry. Gee. What is this? Calling a meat teacher and a rich vegan at the same time. I don't care.
Are you serious? Who is this?
Jonathan, the rich and famous vegan.
Do you know who I am?
No.
I canceled that vegan teacher. I promise you, if you try my meat, I will convert you.
That is so offensive. I am a rich and famous vegan.
What are you rich and famous for?
I'm rich and famous for being famous and vegan.
No one's following someone who's vegan. Do you eat chicken?
No, I do not eat chicken. That's meat.
Calcium. This is an awakening for you, isn't it? Is it healthier for me to be
He's
vegan?
cute.
Yes. What is that noise?
I mean, she's not a... She's not... Never mind.
Guess what I just made for lunch?
A salad?
I made pork belly.
Oh my god.
Pork belly still had the nipples on it. Research.
I'm so smart. I don't need to do any research.
Kill a pig. We can smoke it up.
No! I'm done. You're done. Bye.
Eat meat, people.
Calling a meat teacher and a rich vegan at the same time.
Vegan at the same time. That was actually funny. Not gonna lie, that was funny. So are you guys vegan? As a 14-year-old cat girl, I can confirm it's not me. That's the 26-year-old. Yes, I didn't want to say anything about that. I figured it wasn't you. Oh, it's a level 5. But thank you for confirming. Wait, why would I use ice? I should use water. There we go. That's a vegan teacher talking to I don't know, you heard it. It was a vegan talking to a non-vegan person. Whatever. I don't know. I'm just a streamer, bro. That's all I do with my life, okay? Quick Claw. Actual useful item for once in my life. In our lives. Wait, what happens if I switch? Oh, it still works. Oh, now it's working on both screens. Okay. I'll take it. There we go. There we go. That's what we're talking about. And chat came back. This is so weird. I don't know why it's doing that. I'm gonna have to fix that, aren't I? Fix, refresh, Kuroburamu. Kuroburamu. Vegan teacher is a very bad vegan. Is she? I don't know. So would you be down? She says it's hard for her to get dates nowadays. That's kind of sussy, Baka. I need to know why. Why is it hard for her to get dates? If it's hard for her to get dates, that's a warning sign, sir. Because it's very easy for me to get a date. Okay? I just go on Tinder. I'm like, yo, what's up, guys? It's Ping Pong Moosters. I'm a streamer. And, like, I get, like, 10,000 people sliding into my DMs. Okay? Listen. This is a pandemic? Oh, okay. Do it and stream the date. Yeah, that'll be cool. If she's okay with streaming it. If she's a streamer. Is she a streamer? I think they also called a butcher. Butcher. I don't even know how she looks. She doesn't know how I look, all right? Do you know? That's very important, okay? Looks are superficial, but important, okay? The vegan teacher is well known as a bad person. Yeah, the vegan teacher is just a meme. I didn't know she was a bad person. She's just a meme to me. Bro, that's her face. I don't know. It's a little too yellow, okay? A bit too yellow, okay? Not being racist or anything, because no race, you know, is yellow. But, you know, just saying. Face is a bit too yellow for me, all right? She's out in the sun a bit too much, okay? You gotta get me a girl that doesn't look like that. She is a streamer? Oh, is that her, like, her thing? Bigsby? Oh, she's all about Garfield. This is her, right? Bro, is she even Jewish? If she's not Jewish, okay, then this is a no-go. Wait, didn't we raid her once? I think we raided her once. She looks familiar. Nah, she looks much better than I do. I would feel bad. She hates the Jews. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about that. Vegan teacher Twitter. What's this? Where does it say she hates the Jews? Let me ask her. Let me ask her, okay? Let me ask her. Wait, how do I ask her? Here, I follow. How do I message? I'm such a loser when it comes to Twitter. Oh, here. I heard you hate the Jews. The Jews. Twitter. Okay? Alright, let's go back at the game. What, you told me that's what Dinelle told me. What do you want from me? I'm just messing. I don't know if it's true. I'm just asking. Well, how's that? What am I doing wrong here? You told me she hates the Jews. I'm a Jew. I just want to, like, see what. Fine. Sorry. Someone in chat told me you did. If you don't, my apologies. Okay, there you go. I fixed it. Oh, you guys didn't see it. I fixed it. I said, well, how do you see what this said? I don't know Twitter. Huh? Where's Twitter? Where's my Twitter? Oh, here. Wait. I hate people who self-promo so much. Where's the... Oh, here. I heard you hate the Jews. Sorry, someone in chat told me that. If you don't, my apologies. Yeah, I said sorry. It's okay. You say sorry, everything in life gets fixed. Just delete it and run away. Don't try to backpedal. What do you mean? Just delete? What? You guys. Fine. I'll delete it. No, that's what? Why would I delete it? Excuse me. I already said it. I said someone in chat told me you did. If you don't, my apologies. That's it. I fixed it. Nothing wrong. No? I listen, there's nothing wrong with hating. Okay. Maybe there's something wrong with hating the Jews. Okay. Hating anyone. It's not nice, right? But I'm not judging. Don't delete, right? Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Chi. Jesus. Don't try to backpedal. It's too late for that though, right? I didn't backpedal. I was just saying someone in chat. That's the truth. Someone in chat did, Dinell did say that. I could have said Dinell specifically, but I decided not to because I'm a nice person. I'll be watching her next stream and see if she responds. Okay. What time does she stream? Listen, I know what to do for Twitch, okay? I know people like drama, okay? So that's it. You just create drama and everything's good. Unless people don't partake in that drama, then it's boring. You know? If people don't partake in the drama, or if they, but I actually don't know this. I don't know. But around this time, but not on Mondays, because she hates Mondays, right? Oh. Wait, today's Monday? Oh, I guess today's Monday. Should we just go for the first gym with Walren? Because we still haven't ran into any ice Pokemon. It always takes so long to find another ice Pokemon. Well, not always, but sometimes. Bruh. Why are you brying me? Am I wrong? Isn't drama what you guys want? I like joking around with people. I would message a friend like that. I heard you hate the Jews. You know? I would message my friend that. Especially since I'm Jewish, so I feel like it's whatever to say. Today's Tuesday? Oh, today's... No. In Australia, but... Australia? Don't you hate when people, like... I don't know, that was weird. Yo, Attack on Titan, baby! Listen, I'm trying to create content, okay? The Pokemon content is great, but running into 10,000 Hoot Hoots is not. It takes so long to find a nice Pokemon. We got Shuppet though, that's cool. Hideaway. Give me ice! Ice, baby! I had an ad just then. I didn't hear what you said. No, I was just saying, like, Pokemon is fun, but, like, running into the 10th Hoot Hoot in a row is not, you know? So, gotta make some... Wait, Cloyster! We could catch Cloyster. Gotta make some content, you know? Okay, this is really good and not so good. It's really good because it's fully evolved, which is nice. It's not so good because it's the same type as Blubby. So it's not as much type... coverage or type differences, I should say. We're just gonna try a Pokeball right here. Oh, Australians? Oh, it's like Australians because he said it's Tuesday, and I was like, yeah, in Australia. In times like this, I ask myself, what would have you found Gyarados, by the way? Because I haven't. Yeah, you should always drink wine. I'm gonna try one more ball, and then I'm gonna attack it. Are you serious? You super Sunic to me, bro. I think Water Gun is fine here because he's a water ice type, right? And he keeps defending, but water is special attack? Water gun, right? Ooh, okay. That did quite a bit of damage. We should be good here with the catch. What should we name Cloyster, by the way, guys? Come on. Aurora Beam. It's actually cool. We could go for another water gun, but that's obviously risky if we crit. Come on. Oh, come on, Cloyster. Just go in the ball. I only have 6 balls left. You're so spoiled. Like, oh. Okay. I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna risk it. Stop hitting yourself, you loser. Come on. Use protect. Okay, okay. Come on. Don't crit, don't crit. Oh, yes. Okay, okay, good, 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 good. All moves have their own one. Physical and special aren't dependent on typing. Oh, when does that start then? Gen 7? Oh, yeah, all moves have. Oh, yeah. Yeah, isn't water gun, yeah, but isn't water gun, like, special also? I'm just, like, saying. I'm aware of that, yeah. How are you, Darkness? Sorry I didn't get any emote ideas to you yet. I'll get them soon. Gen 4? It started in Gen 4? Water gun is special, yeah. Okay, so I was right with that. Gen 4 started, or Gen 4, I'm guessing you're saying Gen 4 started that it was each type, each move, right? It's all good? Nice. Catch it. How you doing, though? Come on, just it's a Pokeball. Let's go. What are we naming it, boys and girls? Ever. Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you. Gen 4 was the gen of the physical special split. Gotcha. Now I understand. Arigato gozaimasu. Clam. Clam is actually the type of name I would name it. Simple. No. You know, close to its original name. Lemon Scoop. Oh yeah, you wanted lemon ice, no? Lemon Scoop? What? Why Lemon Scoop? Doesn't even make sense. I'm not gonna name it L. It's kind of creepy. Pee-pee Scoop. I'm waking up. I might fall back asleep. No worries. What time is it for you? I like Clam. Clamel. It's like L and Ellie, and is it Ellie or L? Whatever. Clam and Lemon Scoop. Clemen. Yes. Lemon. The juice. Oh, I'm still not 100%. 9:30 a.m. Oh, you only slept 3 hours. Oh, you might want to sleep then, yeah. Alright, let's go with the Jews. Clam Jews. Clues. 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 I like Clues. Clam Jews. Oh, that's good. I'm gonna go with Clues, though. I like how Clues sounds. Okay. Wait, but the C has to be capital. Juice. There we go. The bank called, so I woke up. Stupid bank. Aw, that sucks. Tell the bank to go away. I'm gonna go watch the 5th video of the last stream on your stream. Alright. See ya, Chi. I'm so happy we got a second Pokemon. That's very good. And fully evolved. I think it's good enough to actually add them. Okay. We got, who's our starter? Walrein. And we got, who's our secondary? Not Walrein. We got Dugong. No, not Dugong. Clamp. What's his stupid name? Oyster. Oh, the game's working. Guys, the game's... It's not lagging. It's not lagging, right? Oh, it fixed itself. Yes! That's so weird, man. It was so weird. I'm gonna lurk and probably go to sleep. Okay, thank you for the lurk, man. Arigatou gozaimasu. Have an amazing sleep. Don't dream of me again. It was weird last time. No, it wasn't fixed before. Well, then again, if I press this button, I don't know if it's... I think that really shows if it's fixed or not. I'm gonna save here. I still had it open on OBS for it to work. Now I closed it on OBS. Like the source or whatever. Hey, it is working. Okay, good. Whoa, whoa. I'm sorry, I can't control them. No worries, no worries. You know, I hope you enjoy dreaming about me again. That's all I'm gonna say. Alright, should we verse her? She's actually kind of difficult sometimes. What I will say is I do want to train Kalajuz up a bit. It's a bit too weak. If he could one-hit KO Abra, we should be Gucci, as the kids say. By the way, my voice sounds good, right, guys? I added a compressor, an equalizer, a noise gate, and I lowered my voice. You can actually hear me pretty decently, right? Right, guys? Right? Oh, come on, my butt. How does that not kill Abra? I mean, I did that a few streams ago, but I promise if you cry like a child this time again, I will give you the ice cream this time. No, I don't want the ice cream again. Fine. Just do it. I think I deserve it. I'm not gonna lie. I deserve it. Do you think Jesus deserved to die, guys? Oh my god, why using detect? No! It's not song. Sorry, Chi. Sableye. Sabble my eye. I'm so funny. Is that mean look? That was dumb. Everyone dies. True. That is true. That's a good point. The real question is, was he hard during the crucifixion? That is a question that I feel like does not get asked enough. That is so true, Doctor. No one asks. No one asks. No one asks if Jesus was hard during crucifixion. It's kind of like racist that they don't. By the way, no one's checked the question of the day yet. You know who got first today? Nathan did. Not you, Doctor. You screwed up. For anyone wondering, there's a reward called First, and you could only redeem it once per stream. I love this song. I freaking love this song. Ugh! Muggy is so good. Oh, it's Cloister again. Hey, welcome back, Nathan. I was in a meeting. I didn't get here until like 8. True, you did miss out what we did today. You know what we did today? No worries, no worries. But you know what we did today? Oh no, I was just saying how you got first, like you redeemed first today. No worries, Doctor, no worries. I'm just saying, you know, I just want to say. This is fucking asshole. I forgot what I was saying now. Whatever. Who cares? No one cares. 5K bet? Bet. Bet yourselves. I'm not doing anything. Alright, fine. Let's go heads or tails. Excuse me. Jesus, that was loud. Shift tree is good XP. I don't know what I was saying, bro. It's whatever. Oh yeah, I wanted to tell Doctor something. I think. I don't remember. Okay, level 8 should be okay. Blubby's level 11. Oh shit. Blubby's level 11. The level cap is 12. We gotta be insanely careful here. I didn't even pay attention to that. Okay. We're gonna push with Cloister here then. For this battle. Oh, that was really dumb by me. How did he level up so much? Did I train with him by accident? If I win, I can afford to buy Emerald. And if you lose, then you can cry yourself to sleep. Let's go Aurora Beam here. Welcome back, Chi. Oh, ad. Wait, no, there's an ad. I'm sorry. Nanimo, Nanimo. Okay. Okay, we could push with Koju's. We could push with Koju's for the... We'll only have to verse one more trainer before the gym later. We should be okay. Alright, we'll do the heads or tails in a moment. Let me just go heal up. I don't care if DNL wins. Maybe he can join me in VIP chat. True. Did you skip the tech linked? No, I had to skip it. That's for weekend streams. Gomenasai. But welcome back. Tech Linus. Why is everyone involved? Love with him. Okay, let's do this. There's no time for fun and games, okay? The moment we have all been waiting for. Heads or tails? Heads or tails? This can change history. It can change everything.
Wait, I want to vote.
This. You want to vote? It's too late. I'm sorry. 3, 2, 1. Flip away. And we get heads. Wow. Who betted for the heads? Who went all heads, baby? We got Chi and we got Dinell getting them heads in his butthole. No more bio modes for now, huh? God bless. Big boom points, baby. How many points you got these days? Me, I got an infinity. Chi, how many points do you have, if you don't mind me asking? Okay, we're gonna do this battle. You have 50k? Jesus. I wasted most of them. Oh. Thank you. I was still on Echo. Fighting. Ice beats fighting, right, guys? Damn it, it was a critical hit. Fighting beats ice, so we're getting very lucky here. This gym design is actually like the best first gym designs. Probably, actually, yeah. The gym designs in this game are pretty good, yeah. Still quite a few points. Wait, what happened? Oh, there's another Pokemon? I completely forgot there's another Pokemon. Let's go Supersonic. NES Splash. Oh my god, how is he avoiding every Supersonic? What? He avoided 3 Supersonics in a row. 4? Are you kidding me? 5? 5 super... 6! He avoided 6 supersonics in a row? What the hell? I'm changing to Blubby. Alright, see you, Dino. Love you. Thanks for popping in. Mwah. All the others are basically move forward through 2 trainers. Take a side route. True. Is it all the others, though? Would have to look through everything, but maybe. Feels like a rip run moment. It does, but we should be fine with Blubby. Oh, we got quick. I forgot about Quick Claw. He keeps using water. If he keeps, oh, I should have encored there. That was dumb. I didn't realize it would be faster though. To be fair. Okay, Vice Script didn't do much. Good. No, we're good. Blubby will carry. Rip run moment, I think for this run, it'll be around the 3rd gym, if we lose. I think we'll beat the 1st gym. We have 2 fully evolved, I mean, it's a randomizer, but we have 2 fully evolved guys. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Okay, good. He didn't go up the level cap. Exactly level 12. She. Good. してみりゃこれで最後の lady Eddie, my love, so sweet. 二人がもしも覚めて見りゃ釣れなくて人に嘘もいてだけが Ooh, ranking every first gym. That's a good idea. Every gym. Ranking every gym from Pokemon. That's a good idea, right, guys? Rank all gyms. On my mind. I am not able to give out points, unfortunately. Gomen nasai. 細い涙の日が落ちる Eddie, my love, so sweet. We finally got to the 1st gym though. Do you care if I run random polls sometimes? If I'm talking about something, let's say serious, it depends. So if I'm like talking about something serious, let's say, right? And then you just run a poll, random poll, like this doesn't make sense, right? But if I'm talking about something and like who do you think would win? Do you think I would win or something? Like then yeah, it would make more sense. Like if it makes sense to run a poll, then yeah, it's fine. Or if it's like just dead air, it's clearly dead air, then random polls are fine too. Or like grinding or in a conversation. Yeah. If it relates to what we're doing or if it doesn't detract from it, then it's fine. That's pretty much it. We'll see how it goes. I'll see how you do it and we'll see. But yeah, it should be fine. Okay. We're gonna verse her. Epic music. She has Jadu. Okay, not bad. We got Klajus. We're gonna supersonic right away here. Oh, I forgot to heal! What the hell? What was I doing? Oh my god. I literally went all the way back to the Pokemon Center for what? Okay, good. Hit yourself. Good, hit yourself. You're gonna have to carry Blubby. What's up, Nico? How you doing? Ice Ball. Okay, Ice Ball is great. Ice Ball is great. Let's take out of Growl. There were 3DS screens that had LCD panels. I did not know that. Marshtomp. Oh my god, Marshtomp ruins one of our best runs. Can we just Ice Ball? Let's Powder Snow. Ooh, that did more than I expected. For anyone wondering, it's okay to go up the level cap because we're already versing the gym later. That's okay. Good. Okay. Freaking thank God, bro. So stupid. Oh. Jesus Christ, bro. How dumb can a man be? Alright, at least level caps goes up. We got a badge. I'm doing good, Nico. I'm doing good. Final Fantasy 12 is doing good. Don't forget tactical encores. Yes, true. I will have to keep encore for later. That is very true. LCD instead of, what does TN mean? Sorry, if it's more than like 7 minutes, I won't go. Eddie, so sweet. Ellie, so sweet. That was kind of almost scary. You got Final Fantasy 12? Oh, nice. Do you like it? Oh, I gotta go pee pee, guys. I'm gonna go pee pee. I'll be right back. Okay. Gotta pee. I'm sorry. I am back. You guys should have no commercials now. Okay. Come on. What is this song? Sounds trippy. TN panels have bad contrast, so colors can look really washed out. LCD, LSD, I was about to say, have much better colors. Not to mention not washed out, and you can look at them from the sides, and you still can see color really well. Oh, cool. Yeah, I haven't heard that either. TN screens are the ones that distort the colors when you look from the other side, from the side. Oh, okay, gotcha. Cool. Basically, LCD is better, is what you're trying to say. So did consoles Nintendo used to use TN panels then? And what does TN stand for exactly? If you know. Okay, we have another chance at an ice Pokemon here. There's around, how many encounters again? A lot. Like 16 encounters, I think. Jolteon. Ooh, they're kind of high level. I forgot they're that high level. So we're going to go with our starter here. Blubby 3.0. Twisted Pneumatic. Ah. Genesect. Jesus. Twisted pneumatic. What does pneumatic mean? I know what twisted means. I know that much. Centrit. I remember ranking Centrit's cuteness the other day. Some 3D XLs have LCD screens. Right, LCD. That's what I thought that a lot of them had. But they were rare and few and far between. Oh, really? So the ones that have, are they like collectibles? Like probably a lot of money for them? Go-Goat. I almost never see this Pokemon. I forgot that Go-Go has a whatever evolution. Pneumatic is a crystalline liquid structure, I guess. Okay. Wait, so it's made out of liquid? Or like maybe it's liquid that's crystallized? Bro, there's so much fascinating things in the world. LCD is probably what your monitor uses. Yeah, LCD I've definitely heard of before. Like LCD monitor, LCD screen. Like they're talking about OLED versus LCD for phone screens, right? I never heard of TN though, until now. At least I don't think I have. I always get confused here. I forget if it's two separate routes or one big route. Having two Pokemons at this stage is really a great feeling though. This doesn't happen every run. LCD ones are many hundreds of dollars. Although you can put your own on the 3DS. Oh, cool. Imagine I had a 3DS with LCD and I just never realized. 3DS XL. Alright, let's try the red flowers. Ba-da-ba-da-ba. Silcoon. So what'd you guys think of today's well, those of you that saw it when I begun the stream? Jesus, a Rhyperior. And we had that stupid thing. We basically tried to see if YouTube ads work to like the sound of my voice. So if me speaking like one word 1,000 times would get YouTube to show certain ads. No Tango Alexa. Me neither. Actually, we had an Alexa once and then my dad wanted to get rid of it because he's like, it always listens. And he was right, it always listens. The main problem is being willing to mod your 3DS physically. For sure. My cousin tried to fix my DS Lite and he made it worse and he broke it. That hit me hard back in the day. You defeated the fairy type gym in X? Nice. What is that? Like the couple of gyms in. Right? It was a good thing, I think. Alexia ga motte imasen. Alexia. Who's Alexia? Yeah, I don't have Alexa either. And I don't think I'll get Alexa or Google, the Google one. OLED is better. Oh, it's the 6th gym. Oh, it was the gym I was going to verse right after if I didn't freaking... I lost one good run to the last Pokemon in the 5th gym. So sad. Well, we had 2 good runs, but that was the best. OLED is better, but the problem with the current ones is that they burn in. Right, that's what it was. On Android phones, I think that was a problem earlier on. Bro, Mr. Mime Jr., I don't care for you. Leave my site. I gotta feel, I gotta reel, it's a sapper pooper real. I wanna feel, sever real. When I said LCD, I actually meant IPS. Oh. What's IPS? I guess arekusua. I don't know if that would be better because that sounds like arekusua. Arekusa. I'll tell you how they probably say it. Areksa. You gotta do the small 2. Are, small 2. Arekusa. Kusa. And then ku, and then sa. You don't need kusua. Kusa. Ksa. Ksa. Ksoi. Ksa. Ksa. That means like smelly also. I'm finally starting to learn Spanish. Oh, nice. I'm gonna be a man of many languages, Nico. Ja. Hablo español. Let's speak in Spanish. What do you want to search up? Oh, how to say Alexa? I'm pretty sure I'm at least closer to being correct. Arekusa. 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 Okay, we're going a bit too fast here. Isn't it crazy through all this grass you don't need to verse one trainer? Oh, IPS. Okay. That makes more sense. I wanna feel. Okay, we should be good looking in this grass now. I personally sexualize. That's what it stands for. I don't know. I got no water left. Centrid, get out of my face. Give me an ice Pokemon. Yarg, welcome back, Dino. Did she go live? You told her? Victory Bell. Do not need that Pokemon. Welcome back. What's up, guys? It's DNL Gigabyte. WB, Warner Brothers. In plane switching. You're in a plane? You're on a plane right now? Jesus. Oh, it means in plane switching. Oh, never mind. I freaking love this song. I couldn't find our first. Some security thing kept coming up. IPS. Yeah. What is that with security again? IPS. It sounds so familiar. Personality. I don't know. I probably know from my dad or something. Are you running the game at 60 frames per second? I'm running the game at 52 frames per second because it's at 175% speed right now. So that's what the game is running on. And the stream is at 60 frames per second. Should be. If I check OBS, it is at 60 frames per second. Yep. No dropped frames. Everything is Gucci gaga right now. So if I go 100% speed, it's 30 frames per second. So that's a thing. You were so close. It's just Arekusa. Arekusa. Oh, it's Arekusa? Okay, yeah. That makes sense. Just sometimes they add the small 2 like for what seems to be no reason, but it's like Japanese pronunciation reason. Arekusa. 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 That makes sense. I was just trying to get the X sound, but it makes sense why it isn't. Yep. Maybe I could go to Spain or Germany instead of the US. Yeah. Heat is losing. I'm not really much into basketball, but damn it. I want the Heat to win. Stupid Meowth. Yeah. Nico, I would look into a place that's cheap where your knowledge of language is enough and where you could make money and survive. I don't know if the US is that, to be honest. I think it's hard to survive in the US if you're coming from another country, unless you're coming with a certain job, specific job. Yeah, I think it's hard. But if you know English and you're coming for a specific job, it could be really good. If you're going to school, it could be fine. I know a lot of people who did study abroad in the US. Should be fine. But yeah, there's other places for sure. Maybe, yeah. I think Spain is probably relatively cheap in certain places to live in, relative to the US and Germany. That would be my assumption. I don't know though. But then you would have to learn Spanish. Like, that's a lot of work too, you know? I knew that the 3DS games fast forward with increased frame rate over 30, but I didn't know what you were running at. 60 would make more sense. Yeah. It runs around 50 around. I mean, it runs between 30 to 55 frames per second, depending on what's going on in the screen, I guess. But I think 30 frames per second is still fine for so many things. Like, the human eye cannot distinguish 60 frames versus 30 for something like Pokemon, you know? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Spain is probably cheaper as well. Heat is really good. I like them. I'm glad I said Heat then. Hey, I like the song. I have to save enough money before I'm 18 to travel to Japan, afford rent. Well, afford food and have enough time to find a job. Why don't you look into applying into the JET program, which is what I did, for Japan, so that you have a guaranteed job right when you go there. You have some people helping you out. And the biggest thing that you'll have to worry about is how good your Japanese is, which you could start, you could work more on now. Other than the major cities, bro, moving to Japan is super difficult, no? Yes. Moving to Japan is really difficult unless you come with a student visa or a work visa to teach English through the JET program, which is what I did, or through third-party companies, which could get murky. Interact is one of the best third-party or like non-governmental programs for Japan right now. So I would look into Interact, the JET program. That's for teaching English. Studying abroad in a Japanese university. Those three options are the best ways to move and live in Japan kind of comfortably. Otherwise, it's very hard. There are a bunch of rules. Yep. Yeah. If you want to move to Japan normally, you have to, like, a lot of times you have to invest. Like, you have to literally, like, buy a house in Japan. And then and then they're like, yeah, you gave us a lot of money. Come move here. Man, the British, the Indian subcontinent, almost freaking 200 years. 200 years old? Mahan? I'm sorry, I didn't understand completely, but okay. Yeah, it's called the JET program. The most applicants are from the US, but I do know a lot of people from Australia who have gone. With COVID, it might be a bit, I mean, by the time you apply, you'll be fine probably, but yeah, there's a lot of Australians who get in. There's a lot of Aussies, Kiwis, Brits, at least from what I've seen, and it's a majority Americans that go. Not for Pokemon, sure, for fast-paced games like FPS games, 30 versus 60 frames. Even FPS games, yes, 30 versus 60, you could see a difference, but it's not even that much of a difference. I remember streaming in 30 frames, or recording on my HD PVR when I was a teenager for YouTube content, and it's not that big of a difference, in my opinion. So the way taxes works is you get double taxed. It depends on your country, yes, but it depends on a bunch of things. Certain countries have treaties with Japan, so you don't have to pay. The US had a treaty, and then it expired the year after I was there, actually. So I didn't have to pay taxes. I was very lucky. I had to pay some taxes, but not all taxes. It gets complicated. I didn't need to pay federal or state or city tax for the US because I was making too little money to do so, and because I was living in Japan. And then but there's good guides out there on Google that help with that. There's actually the best guide is made by the people from my city. So and it works for, this is the best guide. This is specific to US taxes here, but I'm pretty sure they have for other countries as well. I could be wrong. I didn't look because I didn't need to, but there's a lot of information here. That brings me back. Why them? Why what? Why them? Oh, why the JET program? Because the JET program is government funded, so they can't screw you over. A lot of English speaking, and they're trying to push English more to their population, so it's one of the easier ways to get into the country and live there and make money. The JET program is legit. You're not going to have to worry about getting paychecks late, which you could worry about with private companies. What else? They support you more. I mean, it depends with which district and where you get placed. they're most likely going to support you more with the process. There's just every good reason. And they pay better than like everyone. So it's like it's best to go with the JET program if you want to live in Japan and make money while doing it in an easy-ish way. A lot of ifs there, but taxes are mad complex. Yes, taxes are very complex. Taxes are also complex when you make money online. I'm only making a little bit right now, but I'm still making a bit, so it's it's not complex for me now, but Ratatata, how do we get a new encounter? But you don't pay state taxes, do you? When I was in Japan, no, I don't think I paid any US taxes. State, city, or federal. The annoying thing about US taxes is that it depends on the state and city for how things work out. If you have a business too. And it's just very annoying. I think for the US at least, even if you move out of the US entirely, you still have to pay US taxes. No. So the way it works basically, on top of foreign taxes, that's true, but there's a lot of exceptions. So if you have a guard shop, if you have certain treaties between US and the foreign country, that could exempt you. If you're not making that like an X amount of money, you don't have to pay taxes. There's a bunch of exceptions. So true, yes and no. I was looking between consoles running Fortnite running at 30 and 60 FPS, and 30 was much more jittery. Okay. Maybe for newer games it's different, but I remember back in the day when 60 FPS just started becoming released, you couldn't see much of a difference for certain games. Definitely for certain games you will see though. Taxes, but you don't. And the why them bit was to do with why so many oceanic people. Why so many oceanic people go to Japan? I don't know. I mean, it's majority US. It's majority US that go. But I just remember meeting a good amount of Aussies and Kiwis. That might have just been specific to my area, or a lot more people started applying. I'm not sure. I would have to look at the numbers. British Raj, period of direct British rule over the Indian subcontinent. Yeah, I feel like that's okay. I feel like it's crazy how India and Pakistan and that area kind of got a lot of colonies of Britain got independence in like the mid to late 90s. If you look at a lot of African countries, late 90s, you know, it's crazy. Kiwis, yeah, that's what they call New Zealanders. Kiwis. Probably Google, but I figure, you know, JLPT levels supposed to be equivalent to a year, or are they levels of fluency? That's a great question. Why so many in the JET program? Yeah, I'm not sure why so many. I don't even know if it's so many Australians and New Zealanders. If you're just asking generally why are there so many of them, it's because it's one of the most popular ways to get into Japan and live there. But I'll be honest, if you don't like teaching, I don't think it's worth it. I'm just going to check if there's a thingy between... Yeah, there might be a... The thing is, by the time you turn 18, things could be so different. There's no point to really see tax treaties right now. But, you know, you could still do it, obviously. So... Yeah, so JLPT is a test, a proficiency test, Japanese proficiency test to see how good your Japanese is. It goes from... It's called N1... It has a letter, N. It's always N, associated with a number. The different number associations show the different degrees of, like, fluency. So there's N1, N2, N3, N4, and N5. N5 is the easiest. It's the easiest test, and it basically shows that you have a very, very basic knowledge of Japanese. I took N5 when I was in college studying Japanese. Yeah, wow, indeed. When I should have been taking N4, really. But I took N5 and I passed it. Like, it was easy. But it's still hard. Like, Japanese is a hard language. There's a listening section, whatever. That basically says, okay, you know very basic Japanese. N4 is, like, a little harder. It shows that you know more foundational Japanese, not just very basic. Like, maybe you could hold, like, a conversation. N3 is already, you could hold a pretty decent conversation, but not that in-depth. N2 is supposed to be like really high level where you could already find a job in Japan with N2 certification. It's considered that high. You also learn all the kanji, all the Chinese characters up until high school. You basically learn everything that a typical Japanese person would have to know. Kind of. And then N1 is just insane. If you have N1 certification, you've studied Japanese like a madman, and you know Japanese very well. That's kind of it. But basically, if you get an N2 certification, that should be the goal, to work at a Japanese company or to speak Japanese. To speak Japanese fluently, you could have N3. But to have a depth of knowledge, N2 I think is good. Australia is the Western country in the East. True. Well, there's a lot of... Okay, this song is too slow. There's a lot of Western countries, like countries that are considered Western, that aren't even like to the West, you know? Because it doesn't really matter where it's located. Hoopa! A new Pokemon. I was about to stop searching, but Jesus, if we run into a Hoopa... Oh, I should have bought Great Balls. Oh my god, guys. It's good I remembered right now. Imagine... Oh my god, I would have gotten so mad. I should have bought Great Balls. Let's go to the next town and buy Great Balls. It's still interesting. Oh yeah, for sure. Japan is so close to Australia, there must be a thing between them. Yeah. Well, in terms of a tax treaty, that's it. Geographic location doesn't like determine tax treaties per se, but they probably do have good relations. Why is the eastern country of the West? Is it? It's the eastern country of the US, maybe. I don't even know if that's true, but diggity damn, does Australia have a lot of treaties, Japan being one of them. Japan and Australia have mutual due to trade. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I do remember certain people from certain countries getting tax treaties like I did because of the tax treaty, or getting tax benefits because like how in the same situation as I was, but I don't remember which countries. Australia might have, I guess, was one of them. I was gonna say we're not gonna verse the professor. Professor has 3 level 10s. We're gonna heal up, look for one more Pokemon for now. According to tax summaries.pwc. Why does PwC look familiar? PwC, I think, is one of the biggest accounting firms. Or I could just be wrong. Oh, okay. So yeah, it seems like the... But you would have to look at the... Oh, it says right here. With foreign income tax offset, allowed for most foreign income taxes paid to the extent of Australian tax payable on foreign sourced and foreign taxed amounts. Oh, okay. So they offset how much you have to pay in taxes based off the taxes you pay in the foreign country. Okay. But things might change. I did just oh yeah, you're on mobile. You typed that all out. Jesus. That time Pakistan had 2 parts. Yes, I actually know that history. I like history, so I know about West and East Pakistan. Yeah. Surprisingly, Nico, I actually knew about that. I like history. I do forget a lot of history, though. I think it would benefit Japan to get business ties with wanting Aussies to learn Japanese and learning English. Japan's focus right now is not for foreigners really to learn Japanese. Their focus is for their... They don't want people coming into their country. They don't have lax rules for people. I know this is not what you were saying. You're saying it would benefit Japan, but they're very concentrated on pushing English forth so Japanese people could go to the world as opposed to the world coming to Japan. Do you see the amount of countries there were on there? Yeah, bro. I think the world is so intertwined. You would be surprised by how certain companies, forget about countries, how certain companies own an insane amount of products that are supplied and exported to like like so many countries. Like the world is a crazy place right now. Is Bangladesh a Jewish city? What? I don't think it is. I heard it's really hard to get citizenship in Japan. Yep. Crazy enough, people want to go to. Yeah, it's crazy because a lot of people do want to go to Japan, and Japan is having a crisis with with not having enough children, but they don't see it as a problem, and they don't want immigration that much. So right now, the country is like 99% Japanese, 98 or 99% Japanese. So I will say that this is one of the best times to live in Japan as a foreigner. If you're like, for me, it was one of the best because you're literally coming in a period of, in an era of history where people are pushing towards English, but they still know Japanese. So you're learning like you're actually useful as an English teacher there. That's one thing that's really cool. And then second, you're like, you're having an impact on the people around you, but you're also getting challenged because there's Japanese everywhere and not many people speak English. So I just loved it. I think if I stayed a couple more years, I think it would have been fine. It would have been great, but but I came back. It is what it is. I think in like 20 years, everyone's going to know English in Japan. Or the younger people and the people in their 30s, they're going to know English. And it's not going to be as interesting to visit. That's my prediction.
Hello there.
Hey, Cortez! Happy New Year. I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. How are you? We're not going to search more. We're going to verse the professor here. I think we searched enough in that route. We're going to put Jaws up front, though. It is what it is. Yeah, it is. Jap us people when they put a steaky on the Bobby. What? I don't get it. When they put a steaky, like I don't even know how to explain that, to be honest. Putting like a. Oh, that's not. Steaky. I don't think that's steak. I could be wrong, though. I thought steak initially, too, but I don't think that's steak. Or maybe it is. Never mind. It is. I looked it up. I thought it was steaky, which means like, but not really like. So I misunderstood. Yeah, steak on the Barbie. I don't know. I still don't get what it means, but I haven't seen Cortez since last year. Shrimp on the Barbie. Nah, it's steak. It's steak. Bangladesh is country and is mostly Muslims and Hindus. Yep. Kill the shrimp. Hell yeah. Fuck shrimp. I mean, what? I love shrimp. You got the whole squad laughing. I forgot what city has major. There's a city in India that has major Jewish ties. I didn't know that. This is a joke about Australian people calling a barbecue a Barbie. So you should have said barbecue. But I get it. Because there is a word. Wait, I still don't get it, actually. Do they call barbecues Barbies? Oh, never mind. You could say barbecue. Why Japanese, though? Japanese people say barbecue for barbecue. There's another word for barbecue, but they're learning English from Australia. Oh, I see what you mean. That is no, actually, they teach American English in Japan, so it's all the same curriculum, but teachers teach differently. Like the way I would teach, like when a student would ask, I thought you could say lift, for example, for elevator. I would be like, yes, British people say that, but not Americans. But you could say either, like either works. Like I would just explain it to them. British English. We call barbecues Barbies. I get it. We do also have Barbies as in the. Oh, I thought you were gonna say we do also have Barbies on the barbecues sometimes. All right, this is actually a scary battle, but we're just chilling. I don't know why we're just chilling. This could be good or bad. It could be. Oh, I should have supersonic. What am I doing? Oh, that did a lot more than I expected. We're just gonna Aurora Beam again. Jesus, why does it hit so many times? Is Australian Southern British English? Huh? Jesus. One whole level up. Blubby, stop leveling up. I don't want you to level up. Australian English is more bogan. Or more refined? What? Australian English is not more refined than American English. That is not true. Unless you're comparing like Southern American English. And even then, I'm not even sure. Sorry, doctor. Oh, I guess not. Krogunk. Wait, Krogunk is poison, right? He's a level 10 loser. We'll be fine. Krogunk is a powerful guy. Oh, it's good I didn't supersonic. But now when he's dead, and he's not as powerful, it's Toxicroak. Good, you're dead. Okay, we might get an ice Pokemon. Oh, I got so excited. Every time I see blue, I get excited. We'll just take the Dragonair. That's so frustrating. And Charizard, why? There's like 3 or 4 American dialects. True. There's different dialects in other countries as well, obviously. In Britain, there's like a billion different dialects. Not how it's spoken in the regions, the language itself. Okay. There's like 9 American dialects. I can't even argue with. I don't know how many there are. I am at 101 resets, yes. That's why I don't see the excitement in my face from playing. I'm literally putting my feet up on my desk right now. 101 resets. Our best run was like the 7th run. Because we had Kyurem as a starter. Ever since then, we never got Kyurem as a starter. We got Reggie Ice as a starter a couple of times. We had one good run with Reggie Ice after the 3rd or 4th gem, and then we lost. And we had a full team. We had a good team, and we lost. It was kind of my fault, but it is what it is. Yeah, just do better, exactly. I think this run's not bad. If we could get a 3rd Pokemon before the next town, then this run will be really good. Because 3 Pokemon for the 2nd gym is, I think, really good. Oh, I don't want to release you, Dragonair. But we can't use you. A couple of dialects here, from my experience. There's LA, Florida, Atlanta, Southern, Boston, Minnesota, New York. That is, actually, yeah, there's probably a lot more than 9. Because me just thinking Boston, New York, New Jersey, like New York and New Jersey have different, like, I don't know if you would call it dialects, but, you know, it is different. Let's go to the girl here. How you doing, though, Cortez? You did anything special for New Year's? And if you have told me before, then I apologize, but I don't remember you telling me. If you want to tell me. There's the 6th gem leader, baby. And she's gone. Nothing special? Okay. Same. We're losers. I would have streamed something with streamers, but I'm not at that point. My New Year's resolution. By next year's New Year's, I'll be able to stream with streamers. Wouldn't that be cool, guys? I'm sure San Francisco is different than LA. Possibly. Like, completely distinct. LA influences basically everything in the West. Then there's the South, the Midwest, and New England. Yeah, that's like, what is considered a dialect, right? Because you have different variants of a dialect. It's like to the extent of how strong the dialect is. I don't know. It's hard to say. Yeah. It's like, how different must an accent be for it to be a dialect? I don't know. When do you go to Streamer Mansion? The hope is, I'm talking with an editor right now, which seems like a really cool guy. The hopes is he's able to edit daily content for me. The hopes is that I put out some awesome content The hopes is he edits really well in due time. And the hopes is that my YouTube blows up. And I'll get recognized. I'll stream with other streamers. And then Streamer House by the end of the year. But it's probably not going to happen. Who asked? Oh, so funny. What's up, Panda? How you doing, bro? How you feeling? How you doing? Major differences are Minnesota and Boston IMO. Okay, good. No ice Pokemon here. That's good. Really? Minnesota and Boston? I don't know if those are... Maybe they are, but it's probably not the only major differences. Still dying? Oh, that's not good. Come to Long Island. You gonna stream with me? Panda is Jude, my IRL friend. He came over my house when we oh! Ice Pokemon! When we dyed my hair. Kind of sucky ice Pokemon, but... and it's not evolved, but... you know what? Let's Supersonic. Let's let it hit itself a couple times. You're at a streamer house? Is that so? Why? Isra there? No, I forgot to buy Great Balls. I actually forgot. We only have 3 Pokeballs. Okay. I have to think here. I'm such an idiot. England versus Midwest. New England. Yeah, that's definitely one thing. Pause. Sorry, I kept coughing. I'm like dying. I have Corona. It's gonna go through the mic. Oh my god. Amora, hit yourself. You powder snowing me. Monka S, Monka W. What is this stupid emote do now? What, you simping for L? Come on, bro. Bro, I don't got COVID, guys. I don't know if I have COVID. But here. I'll share it so you guys could feel my pain. L is best girl. Do you tell her that? You're probably one of those creeps on her stream that's always like, oh my god, you're so cute. And she's like, yeah, thanks. She's like, thanks. And now I'm like, thanks. God damn it. Bro, I'm gonna get more sick. They're so stale. I need to buy new ones. They're so stale. Wait, is he not confused anymore? I gotta confuse him. God damn it! How nice booba she has. You're so stupid. I assumed it's her emote. I don't know. Okay, we supersonicked. That's good. Hit yourself. Booba. When? Wait, when what? When did I get sick? A couple days ago. When's the jelly beans? Right now. When did I buy them? Months ago. Right here. Right here. Oh. When it gets to red health, I'm gonna throw Pokeball. Oh. Oh. When did I was like, he's gonna say, when did I ask? But then I'm like, wait, how do you phrase that? Like, how would he phrase that? But I didn't think of something fast enough. So I was like, nah, he's not gonna say it. He's so stupid. I'll ask her out when you ask her out. Okay, I'm gonna throw a Pokeball. I don't want to kill it. Get caught. You stupid Amora. Alright, I have like one chance to catch it. Yes. Nope, you idiot. You stupid Pokemon. I'm happy it died. Ugh. This is nasty. What do I take out? We'll take out withdraw. I'll ask her put for you. I'll ask your mom out. Okay. Why I can minusing? You gonna introduce me? Okay. You gonna take me out? Nah, you sick. It's okay. Maybe later. I take you out. Ping me up. I don't know what that means. Pick me up. Ooh, look at that emote. Looks terrible. I mean, it looks great. She has amazing emotes. What did I want to do? Oh, buy Great Balls. God damn, I almost forgot. I can only buy... Ugh. We gotta get antidotes. Buy like 3 antidotes. Oh, we need potions. Buy 1 potion. No, I did not mean to buy that. Whatever. I don't mind Garfield that much. I'm not like in love with Garfield, but... Don't lie, bro. Wait, is she Christian? Tell her I hate Christians. Do I make money through TikTok? No, I make money through Twitch, and that is all right now. That is literally it. Which, you know what? That's fine. Oh, she's Jewish? Is she actually? Oh, that's pretty cool. Can you if you wanted or no? I don't think I could now. I don't really have... I don't know. I didn't look into making money on TikTok. I don't think I have an audience for that right now. But I know someone who makes money on TikTok through sponsors. She comes on the stream sometimes. She's really cool. I met her on Call of Duty. Routes. Everyone, follow Pink so that Pink can get money, so Pink can live. Follows don't give me money, but sure. She's literally you. The tweet? Yeah, the tweet's even funnier now because she's Jewish. I'm not deleting it, though. She is literally me. Why would I want to date myself? That sounds terrible. Did she respond? I don't know. I don't go on Twitter enough. Let's see. The moment of truth. Nope. Nico sent me some stuff that I gotta check, but no tweets from her. Mentions? No. Let's see. The moment of truth. Ha! She blocked me. It is what it is. Subscribe to Bing. Yeah. What, bruh? I was being myself, okay? We're obviously not a match. What do you want from me? Oh, Charmeleon. I swear, people, I would block you too. Bro, it's a joke. That's what you said. I just repeated what you said. For anyone who doesn't know, Dinel's like, oh, I know this girl. She's perfect for you. She's Jewish. She blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay. And he's like, she hates Jews though. And I'm like, okay. And then he gives me her Twitter. And I say, I heard you hate Jews. Is this true? Someone in chat said it. Is it true? And she blocked me. That hurts, bro. Well, you're also a stranger. See, I'm aware. Blow megalo. Megalo. Hey. How do I know you were joking? You said shades. Okay, listen. All right. Not everyone has my sense of humor. Okay. Not everyone can do dark humor and just be whatever about it. And I'm a stranger. That's fair. I wonder what I would do if I got a message like that. I'll probably just say, no, I am a Jew or something dumb like that. That's what I would say. Freaking Amora popping up again. What did I do to get blocked? I said, do you hate Jews? Just me and you, not you, me, and her. Whatever. Bro, I don't care, okay? Whatever. I don't care. I know who I'm not rating, though, ever. Never gonna rate her. Why would you tweet that, though? Her response was, I am Jewish, and my grandma's a Holocaust survivor. Sounds like a troll. Imagine that was her. Was that actually her? response. Nah, you gotta send proof that that was her response. You're just bullshitting right now. No way that was her response. Rate her and then explain it. Bro, I told her why though. I said cause Dinell told me. Okay, I believe you. I believe you. Well, I can't respond to her now. She blocked me. So it's whatever. I'm not rating her. If she blocked me, all right. I'm not rating her. The funny thing is we're both Jewish. What, rate her and explain it? Okay, if I were to rate her, I wouldn't rate her now. I'll rate her at the end of stream, okay? If she's still streaming, when I stop streaming, I'll rate her. No, I think it would be kind of weirder if I raid, though. If she sees the person she just blocked raid, she'd probably think it's a hate raid, and then just, like, turn off stream or something, and then I would feel even worse. Imagine that happened. That would be so sad. Nah, it's gonna be okay. You don't know. Bro, why should I listen to you? You told me she hates Jews. Dinell, you should explain it to her in chat right now. She'll forget or something. What? Maybe. Oh yeah, obviously don't rate her to abandon stream. Yeah. When's the next co-stream with a random person playing the same game as you? That was fun with Jump King. I don't know, but we will be streaming possibly this Thursday at like 8 p.m. We're going to be streaming with another streamer. That should be cool. I'll start stream earlier than I usually do. Yeah, Dinell, you go do it. I blame you. And what do you mean, why would I tweet that? Because that's sad. Whatever. I'm just going to play the game. Ugh, I'm thirsty, though. I'm going to go get water. Falcon chair. As a chair? As an emote of a... Oh, I get it. It's an empty chair. That's like an emote, actually. Going for random people. I don't know. I'd have to play a different game to do that. But I do want to do new stuff at beginning of streams. So today we did something different. I'm going to continue doing stuff that are different. Tomorrow we might give random people money on Twitch. So look out for that for tomorrow's stream at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Okay. I'm just going to run away here. I feel like every time, okay, Mr. Beast. I know. Well, you'll see what it is, and then you might amend that statement. But I feel like every time I try to like talk with other streamers, so many times they just don't like it. Like, I'm just trying to chill over here, right? Like, I remember, some of you guys might remember this, when we were playing Jump King, I would go into random people's Jump, and Cortez alluded to this earlier. I'd go into random people's Jump King streams and just like say, yo, what's up? And you want to play together? You want to talk on Discord? And most of the people, a lot of people didn't, or Pokemon Unite was also on. I don't know, people are like, don't want to really interact. They're always like, don't self-promo in my stream. Yeah, exactly. It's like what? Isn't the point of Twitch that it's like a community? Like, everyone who knows Ludwig knows Miskiff, who knows, like, if you know the big streamers on Twitch, you know all of them, right? Because they all interact together. Because it's more fun for people to watch that, and it's more fun for them. So as a smaller, especially as a smaller streamer, wouldn't you want to, like, interact with each other? It's a very weird thing to me.
Daniel, have
Also
you
on
gone
possible
said sorry
streams.
and explained it?
DNL. Oh, she was a really nice streamer too. I feel bad for. What? Just shut up. To be fair, you say super cringy stuff sometimes. You just sound like a bot or 0 viewers out there. What am I supposed to? I'm streaming too, right? What am I supposed to say? Oh my god, this is so cool. Like, I don't want to start watching the other person's stream, you know, because then I'm not really paying attention to my own stream. I don't know. Maybe you're right, Doctor. I'm not gonna explain it. We told him to delete the tweet. Whatever. Well, did I delete it now? All right, I deleted it. If it makes you feel better. I thought it was funny. Maybe it was not funny. Too trolly. Trying to chill. Just trying to chill. Okay, I deleted it. I didn't delete the second tweet though. I don't know how to find it. But my second tweet said sorry. Someone in chat told me you did. If you don't, my apologies. Like, whatever. I'll delete both of them. All right, let's go to the double battle here. Twitch should make a stream tag that's yes, looking for another streamer to play this game with. Yeah, that would be great. That would actually be a tag that's worth using. Like, they have so many tags now. Maybe they do have that tag, to be fair. I don't even know. Guys, am I a terrible person? Hi. Why is I don't know. Am I that? I didn't even know she was Jewish, and her grandma died. I was supposed to know that. Whatever. Listen, you live, you learn. Nah, it was still funny. Damn, DNL is watching a lot of Jewish streamers. Wonder why. That's a good idea, Cortez. Yes. Tell Twitch, though, not me. That is a good idea. I think that would be a good idea. Oh, I forgot where is this guy right now. Feels bad, man. Aurora Beam. Hey! I always forget it's super effective. It'll make it easier to find new friends, yeah. I don't know. I like joking around with people, you know? But I guess if you don't know them and they don't know you, it's not the best. Best idea. Give me honey. But the response I gave wasn't. Oh, you know what? I'm done with this. Whatever. Let's just find another ice Pokemon. People are only okay when it's a bigger streamer because then they benefit. It's very frustrating. It's so stupid. Who cares if they're a big streamer or not? And I swear to God, I would be saying the same thing if I was a big streamer. I will be saying the same thing. Okay, we have enough Great Balls, which is good. Golduck. But yeah, I think that is true. I think people, a lot of the times, only care if it's someone bigger. I'm not lying. I am not lying. If I have an interesting conversation with someone, I don't care if it's a big streamer or small streamer. I do not care. That's like, because that's not my priority to care about. If anything, I would care more about talking to bigger streamers now than in the future. Sure, it would be nice to talk to bigger streamers, but Doesn't mean I don't want to talk to smaller streamers. Okay. When he goes, I have to go. There we go. Let's go. Ah! Oh, that's close. You never want to stream with me? You never, bro. You never stream. What are you talking about? Plus, right now I'm pretty much streaming like a game that I could only stream alone. Plus, I'm a tiny streamer. What are you talking about? Any streamer is like the same. Like that's not. Doesn't matter. I always stream when you play with me. Yeah, we play it. It Takes Two. Streamed it for a bit, and then I was like, I don't want to stream it because it was more fun to not stream it at that point. Because when you stream, you have to react to chat and stuff. And we were just playing the game. What are you talking about? Some games are more fun to stream with chat. Some with like to stream, and some games, like if I'm gonna play like a game with another person, and I want to give my attention to the other person, then I don't want to stream necessarily. Because if I'm giving my attention to another person, I'm taking attention away from stream. Which is why I kind of stopped streaming Call of Duty. Let's play Overcooked? Okay. Not right now, though. Call of Duty, yeah. Call of Duty, those were the days, yeah? I think Pokemon is much easier to talk to chat. That's why I play it. Cock of Duty. Wow! I am definitely trying to grow now, but I don't know. I think at a certain point, if I can make a living off of YouTube and Twitch, I would hope that's true. I don't know what the future holds, right? But I would hope that I become a person who doesn't care if I stream with people who have less viewers than me, as long as I think it's good content for stream. I do think about what's good or like I want you guys to enjoy also. Among Us Kart. We played Mario Kart the other day, bro. But yes, Among Us. Among Us is no longer a thing. Yo, Sai, what's up? How you doing? True. How was New Year's? Would you do a soul lock with me in the future? Sure. I would have to stream it, but sure. My whole life nowadays is streaming, editing, fixing stuff for stream, being lazy on YouTube, and that's it. Joking. Unless... Yeah, been great. Hell yeah, it's great to hear. What's up? A lot of people have asked to do soul locks with me. I will be doing a soul lock eventually. Piss stream? Oh, where I do pee-pee on stream? Yeah, that'll probably be my last stream. I'll probably do that for my last stream, but... Every day, every time I come on, I tell you my time. What? I'm not even gonna lie, guys. The biggest reason why I like interacting with other people on stream is because, like, especially other streamers, is because I feel like it's better content for you guys. Like, that's literally the biggest reason. I feel like it's just more like interesting or fun, or you know, that's why I tweeted that the girl, because it's more interesting, and I would just tweet it, whatever, you know. It's funny. Apparently it's not funny to her, but I didn't know. But I don't know. Is that bad? That's on OnlyFans? True. You could see me peeing on OnlyFans. That is true. People have asked you before? Damn it. Yep, people have. Dina wasn't lying. She lives in New York City. Y'all could have dyed your hair together. Bro, I don't even know her. You guys are acting like we're already best friends. Well, Dinell screwed it up, okay? And you know what? She doesn't have my sense of humor, so it doesn't matter anyway. Now I'm just sad. Actually, someone asked me today to do a soul lock. Yeah, I've never done one before though. You doubled down on the tweet. How did I double down? It was a joke. I didn't even know she was Jewish until you told me that. Like later. Like I just assumed she wasn't because most people in life are not Jewish. Whatever. Whatever, bro. It passed. It happened. I did send a second tweet. I didn't delete it, but I sent a second tweet. She ignored the second tweet. I mean, I was 100% truthful. I said someone in chat said you hate Jews. Is it true? If not, I'm sorry. This is like literally true. Like there's nothing wrong there. But whatever. Every day, every time, God. But even if she's not a Jew, it was unnecessary. Bro, you guys are saying all this after the fact. If she was like, ha, lol, no, I don't, then no one would be saying anything right now. It was a joke. It's just a joke. It's just a joke, guys. It's a joke. It's a joke. I'm Jewish. It's okay. It's a joke. Whatever, bro. Okay? It is what it is. It is what it is. Exactly. It's just a prank, bro. I met this one guy who was really trolly on Twitch. Very trolly. It was kind of fun, but too trolly. Too trolly. Whatever. Oh, I have to go see the balcony. I always forgot about that part. I don't know, man. When you get stopped at a bar, you ain't gonna laugh. What? Okay. Now stop simping, bro. Damn. His name was Ping Dong Masters. What? Oh yeah. My Twitter account is different than my Twitch account. It's okay, guys. Bro, I've said crazy stuff to people all the time, especially New Yorkers. And most people are... Actually, I don't think I ever get a bad response. But that's because in person, it's much easier to read reactions. In person, you could tell how a person acts and then react a certain way, you know? Online, it's very hard to do that, if not impossible. I wouldn't go to a random person at the bar and be like, saying so. Yeah, you're right, doctor. This is a good idea. Dinel's just simping too much. Like, just gotta chill, bro. Plus, I can't do anything now anyway. She blocked me, so. It's also hard to tell intentions. Yep. That's why I just said it, because I'm not gonna know if it's gonna work or not. But if it works, and she's like laughing about it, then I know that we kind of both don't care about that type of stuff. Obviously, I'm a random person, so I understand why she like blocked me, but it is what it is. Shut up. What do you get? She hasn't blocked you on Instagram yet or Twitch. DNL being like, bro, like, what are you doing? Oh, apologize? Just rate and apologize and explain. I feel like you guys are making this a bigger deal than it is. Whisper her? And say what? Like, what did I say that was wrong? I said, do you hate Jews? I said, someone in my chat said that, so if you don't, my apologies. That's literally all true. Is it not? Which is why you have a sugar mommy to a try. Oh. But what would I say? I don't understand. I'm sorry that I didn't know that you were Jewish and your grandma died in the Holocaust. What am I supposed to say? It's like, what? Say, sorry, baby girl. Don't let my mistakes stop you from finding. What? That's You say, what if I said that right now? What if I said that right now? She blocks me on Instagram or whatever. She reports me. And then what? I'm like, you told me to say it. And then you're like, no. Oh, I told you to delete it. What, is that what would happen? Shut up, Dino. Shut up. Double ad over. Nice. Sorry you get so many ads. Twitch gives ads out. And I give ads to prolong, like, to prevent more ads from popping up when I go pee-pee. What I got to lose? Being an actual creep. I think what I said was enough. Yo, Jewish tambien. Go, man. True, I could just say you're a Jew. I don't know, bro. I don't know her. She could be the type. There's a lot of like very liberal like Jewish New Yorkers. So I could see her literally responding, "Wow, you're a Jew and you said that? That's even worse." And then I'll be like, "Why'd I even respond? I don't even care anymore." Okay. I'm not saying anything wrong with liberal or whatever, but like I've met people like that, so I don't want to deal with that more. Next thing you get, restraining order. Yeah. Also, like, I don't want to bother her. And women have enough annoying stuff to deal with on Twitch, especially. So. I feel like there's two types of people that respond when they see something like that. But I don't know. If she says that, then say, "What's wrong? Is me being a Jew a problem?" I'm just gonna troll more, and I don't want to. Nah, I don't want to be that big of an asshole. So level 15 frickin' Miltank. It's worse left as is. Really? Okay. All right, you guys. Okay. Like, I'll message her. Okay. What's her thingy? I already forgot. Ella. You guys are like trolls, but then you become like the super nice people. I don't know. What was her thing? I don't even remember. Tell me her thing. I prefer to not have people dislike me. Oh, at least you're honest with it. I don't like when people dislike me too, but I don't like if people misunderstand me more than anything else. Like, that's important to me. So she said, "Oh, you're like a troll." She understood me. I was kind of like trolling with a dumb joke. So I feel like there's nothing to say. That's why I like. But if you guys really want me to, I'll message her. I don't care to, really. Was this her? I don't. This was her. My parents didn't let me play games as a kid. My parents too. What the hell? We do have a lot in common. It's kind of funny. Say you want to get famous? that would be hilarious, but no. Okay. Just genuinely apologize. What am I like? What is there to apologize for? Okay, whatever. Sorry for the tweet. Someone in my chat was genuinely saying that, but he was trolling. So I just tweeted it. I didn't even know you were Jewish. So am I, lol. Have a good day. What do you mean don't say that? That's true. That's literally what I would say. Like, sorry for the tweet. Obviously it offended her. Someone in my chat was genuinely saying that, but he was trolling, so I just tweeted it. I didn't even know you're Jewish. So am I. Have a good day. Like, okay, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? I don't know. Like, okay. Sorry for the tweet. Someone in my chat genuinely saying that, Okay, maybe not genuinely, yeah, was saying that, but he was trolling. So I just tweeted it. Because I just thought whatever. Because I just thought whatever. I didn't even know you were Jewish, so you were Jewish, and that it would hurt your feelings. So I apologize. So I apologize. Have a great day. Don't say shit. You told me she was Jewish. What do you? I mean, she said her grandma died in the Holocaust. Okay, so that kind of shows that she was Jewish, even if you didn't tell me. I didn't mean to offend you, and I hope you have a good year. Yeah, that sounds good. Sorry for the tweet. Someone in my chat was saying that. But so I just tweeted it because I just thought whatever. I don't even know you're Jewish. That it would hurt your. Apologize greatly. Why don't say it? I don't think that I tweeted that because whatever part would go well. Yeah, but it's true. I'm not gonna lie about it. I'm not trying to like sugarcoat. I'm not gonna lie. Someone in the chat is fine. Okay, whatever. I'm not adding the heart though. That might be creepy to her. I don't. I'm sorry about the tweet earlier. I didn't mean to offend you. And I hope you have good year. You have a good year. Jesus Christ, you know. This is why you're not mod. I'm just joking. You'd be telling a half truth? Wait, how's that a half truth? Oh, if I don't include that? Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Sorry about the tweet earlier. Didn't mean to offend. I didn't mean to offend her though. To be honest, like I'm not trying to offend. Sorry about the tweet earlier. I didn't mean to offend you, and I hope you have. And I hope that didn't. Okay, and I hope that you have a good year. I'm just gonna. Sorry about the tweet earlier. I didn't mean to offend you, and I hope that you have a good year. Okay, that's it. Sent. Okay, that's it. It's done. Okay. Maybe a little more explanation. Oh, too late. But Dinel's a good. It's okay. I don't think we'll bump into each other in the metro, but I might even have seen her before and not known it. Dinel, you're so weird. Welp, that's that. Let's look for a third ice Pokemon. We could be neighbors. I would assume not, but it's possible. Or would explain to someone said it would be a good addition. It's whatever. I ended up saying it on she might be like, why'd you say it? I'll be like, 'cause someone in chat. But I already said that. Whatever. If it comes up, it comes up. I mean, I am a weirdo that just randomly said that on Twitter. But that is true. Like, I didn't, like, search for her to say that. Dinel did give me the Twitter and the chat. That is a good point, Chi. But I did say someone in chat said that you don't like Jews, which was true. So I just messaged that. Like, that is true. Like, I sent her a second message, which I deleted because of you guys, but... Anyway. Yeah, let's just see what happens. I see the message on Twitter now. I'm Jewish. My grandma is a Holocaust survivor. Sounds like a troll. Not even trying to troll, bro. What's up, Nathan? You missed a lot of drama.
Monkey do good.
Thank you.
Monkey
See, I try,
do very
I try.
good.
A monkey. Monkey. There's a monkey on stream now. Come on. Now I just feel awkward. It is what it is. Na na na. We need to see the best situation here. We could verse the second gym with 2 Pokemon, but it would be better if we find a third Pokemon. Tablet died and phone was at 1%. Welcome back. I just messaged some streamer because DNL said she's really cool. I think you would like her. She's cool. She's cool. Oh, she hates Jews. So I'm like, okay. And then he gives me the Twitter and I just message her. Do you hate Jews? I heard that you hate Jews. I said I heard you hate Jews. And she said my grandma died in the Holocaust and blocked me. And I was like, what? And actually after that I messaged, before she blocked me, I messaged someone in chat told me that. I don't know if it's true. If it's not, my bad. That's it. Whatever, I don't care. So now I messaged, I'm sorry that I offended you. On Twitch. This is my life now. Please give me Kyurem. I'm just gonna write down that Aurora Russ. I'm just gonna write down Aurora Russ was not a good thingy. Aurora Russ. That we can't catch Aurora Russ now. And we're on run 102. 101 resets. Let's see how things go. Whatever. I just messaged a streamer, and now I messaged a streamer known as Ping Pong Masters. You messaged Ping Pong Moosters? Wait, I don't get it. I love the song. It's so funny. Rusaizu kohi. Shishi demo natsu no hi. Dinelli, still there? I'm sorry I ruined the potential talking to a streamer that you thought would gel well. Gomen nasai. Gomen nasai. Hontoni nasai. I'm here? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Gomen nasai. Nasai. I apologize. So now I just have a weird feeling in my stomach. I just feel bad now. Whatever. It is what it is. We all live in a simulation. Hi here, I'm Dr. Mod. Hello, Dr. Mod. How are you doing? Shallows. We all live... Hashtag I know, right? Do you guys believe we live in a simulation? Oh, I'm still sick. Jesus, Thunderous. I don't like Thunderous. Let me run away. Bro, if I die to Thunderous, I'm Vuchi. Vuchi? Is that like supposed to be like viewer chi? Oh, come on my butt, Thunderous. Are you kidding me? Just let me run away. Okay, if he crits a bite... Okay, good. Yeah, I guessed, you know. That's true. It's can I give my points to someone? Just wondering. Unfortunately, no. Twitch doesn't have that. This is dumb. Should I put back the system that we had before? Mesh. Mesh? Wait, what is mesh? What does mesh mean? Oh, I gotta go pee-pee again. Should I go pee-pee and leave you guys? Shell gun. Alright, if the next Pokemon is an ice Pokemon, I'm gifting 5 subs. My voice is like... My nose is getting really, really The stuffed. I'm gonna go peep. It's not a nice Pokemon. Like a bet, but I lose on purpose. I mean, I guess you could, yeah. I'll be right back though. Okay. Mod puts up a vote and does it, so the one you want to give to wins. Yeah, that might be a thing. And you guys are mods, so you guys could do that. No ad? Oh, nice. What do I want to say? I don't know. Are you guys the type of people that get offended very easily? Or are you guys the type of people... Like, I'm the type of person, and I grew up with people like this in high school. In junior high school, too. But high school really defined that, I think, for me. A big part of that. It's just, I grew up with people who we would always make fun of each other. And it was very easy to do because we were all different. Like, I was Jewish. I am Jewish. I had Muslim friends, Christian friends, you know, agnostic friends, whatever. Like, friends from all different countries, because I live in New York, you know? And everyone just laugh. We laugh, like, that's how we deal with stuff like that. We just laugh at it. It's easier to, like, deal with for us. You got triple ads? Oh, that sucks. Mesh, a material made of a network of... Okay, I know what mesh means, but... Of the teeth are licked together. Nice. Yeah, I just didn't understand in that context, I guess, but okay. I don't get offended easily. I just hide, keep quiet, and avoid others. Gotcha. I don't know, like with, like, if someone's, like I've experienced anti-Semitism before, and I personally, like, don't care. Like, if someone's anti-Semitic to me, it's like, that's okay. Like, there's no like, oh, print plop. It's I don't know. It's just not, like, I don't know, what can words, at the end of the day, if you could handle words being thrown at you, Vanillish, we got a nice Pokemon, then you could handle a lot in life, I feel, you know? I don't know. Spike the cannon, don't kill Vanillish. Okay, good. Jesus, that did a lot of damage. We're gonna spike cannon and then switch out. That did so much damage. I hate atheists and religious people who hate on the others due to their beliefs. Like, sure, I'm atheist, but if someone's religious, okay. See, I don't even hate the people who hate. I just don't really, like, it's your belief. That's how I feel about it. I don't get offended easily, but there's some stuff that I do get offended easily. I know that for a fact. Like if someone says they don't like avocado. All right. But yeah, I get that, Nathan. There's probably one or two. Yes, we got it. I mean, it's just an ice cream cone, but there's like one or two things that I get offended by. Like, I get offended when people. Not offended. No, I don't know if I get offended by much, but like I get sad and I get passionate and I get angry when I talk with people and they don't appreciate like what they have, which is kind of like maybe fucked up to say, but like I feel like I've met a lot of people in my life that have very negative outlooks on life, and it just hurts me to see that because I know they could be doing more with their life and like feeling happy, and they just don't choose that route, and that just makes me like sad and like angry and passionately like. But that's dumb. Like I shouldn't be like that. How would you hate on Avogadro? It's the mole monster. Okay, what's the nickname? What nicknames you guys got? I forgot his real name. I forgot what nickname we gave him. Shit ice cream. It's a bit long. Let's go with something shorter, but that's like a nickname. And the sound right of that. We'll pretend I was talking about avocados. Avogadro? What is that? Avogadro. Avogadro's number. What? Oh, it's a mathematician? No, I don't hate on him. He contributed a lot to math. Combo ice. Oh, Napoleon ice cream? Yeah, Napoleon is the combo ice cream. Let's go with Napoleon. I feel like mint. All right, let's go with mint. I don't know. It's very short. I want something short. I'm with mint. Sorry, Chi. Mint it is. Name him Chinaman. It's too late. Wait, why Chinaman? That is racist. Wait, why Chinaman though? Out of curiosity. Vanilla. Wait, which one? Which one was it? It was the second evolution, right? It wasn't the fully evolved one, was it? It was the fully evolved. Oh no, it wasn't. I got excited. Has LA replied? No. They blocked me on Twitch too. No, I don't know. No, they didn't respond. She hasn't responded. Moose Tracks. Nah, she didn't block me. She didn't block me. She wants more points. Oh, it's level 14, which is good too, because our starter is level 14 here. We're gonna go back and heal, and then we'll verse her. Oh, excuse me. Can you get block you? What? What does that even mean? I'm giving points. Okay, do it. The only problem with giving points like that is that other people get points too. But whatever. I mean, I don't care. It's whatever. Better slide me half those points so I don't report you for extortion. Oh my god. I gotta drink a lot of tea after stream. I might end stream earlier. I'm still not feeling 100%.
Caught in 4K.
Drinking water? Caught in 4K drinking water, bro? Caught in 4K. You guys hear that, right? You guys hear the caught in 4K. It's not cut off or anything, right? Yeah, that's what that does. Yeah, we got some new rewards. You guys would be seeing new stuff added every day if I weren't editing for daily uploads. But once my editor like gets accustomed to editing stuff, bro, stuff is gonna pop off. Meaning I'm gonna be able to spend a lot more time on like improving Twitch. No mod on the sky. Us to down. Isn't that the way? Everybody's watching bloom. His life was way. My voice hurts. Well, hello, nobody knows. Here it comes. It probably doesn't look good. Imagine she went on my stream to see what I would say, and then I was like just being an ass or something, or she sees like my Pokemon's name is Clajuice. Jesus, what the hell? That's so stupid. I have to go back and heal now. That's so dumb. Should I just use a potion? Oh, I think they have like level 18 Pokemon. So I don't remember. And from sages, you know it's true. All the things and back to you. Another coin flip. I got you, Chi, but I don't know. What is this? You want me to tweet another person? Tweet another person? Repost if you're an awful I'm not an awful person, okay? As people are sensitive nowadays, okay? That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna... Bro, this is literally what people do in life. Ooh, you did the prediction. Nice. People... Not what people do in life, sorry. This is how life is. With social media and everything. Everyone is pushed to see what they want to see. So you can just block whatever you don't want to see. And that's it. She doesn't want to see it. That's it. You guys are overthinking it. Dream on. What am I looking for? Oh, I wanted to see if I made a note on I didn't make a note. Oh, I did. Okay, so there's 3 Pokemon, level 14, 16, and I don't know. We could be fine if we just use a potion here. What a waste of a potion, though. Right? Yeah, I'm just gonna use it. And we're gonna use our starter here because I don't trust everyone else. Dream on, dream on. Whoa. So am I actually doing a coin flip? I can't access it because I can't choose which. Why not? Oh, Smoochum. Ice Pokemon. A freaking Giratina. Are you kidding me? Like, alright. Powder Snow might actually do a lot of damage on Giratina. See, he has a dragon, right? Like, every legendary is a dragon. No! It did, like, nothing! And now I'm confused. Are you kidding me? What the hell? Huh? Alright, I'm gonna switch out. Because we're confused. Yeah, the X part from before. There's no way for them to know. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What is this BS? No. I could do the flip. I'll do the flip. I just wasn't sure if you wanted to. I don't know how I'm gonna take out the Giratina. Just gonna ice ball it. Yeah, attack me. They're all attacking me. Well, that's the end of this run. And he avoided it. And Smoochum is still alive. Okay, Smoochum is dead. Ekans. Great. We got Quick Claw. Oh, you're back. Welcome back, Nico. Sorry I missed that. Yeah, paralyze me while I'm already confused. Why do I have a stupid ass Clamperl as a teammate? I'll flip the coin, don't worry. I want to finish this battle. See if I could. Okay, that's game. I'm not even continuing it. All right, we're gonna end. Yeah, that's a rip run. That's a rip. We're gonna end the stream here also, cause my nose is stuffing up. I'm not feeling too good. Gotta go drink tea and stuff. But thanks for watching, guys. Before we end, of course we'll flip the coin. I'm still, everything's still okay, guys. Everything is still okay. Are you guys ready? Ready to flip the coin, baby? Heads or tails? Shut up, Dino. Okay, time to flip. Heads! Damn, Daniel. Yay for whoever bet on heads. Community games? Nah, I'm too tired. I'm still feeling sick. I've been sick with something. Sorry for no community games. We'll see you guys tomorrow, though. We know who we're not raiding tonight. Who to raid, who to raid, who to raid. To raid, aid. We got Pokemon. Pokemon Y.
Cause like, what is it weak to? Like flying types?
I think they raided me once
Mostly.
and we were talking.
It's also really weak to fairy, which is special. But
Look, he's smarter than me. Look at all the.
252 and then 6 speed here. So.
And we're gonna raid him, okay?
Set that there.
If
we
you
can
remember.
Also always unset them because in this game you can unset your mons like pretty much at will.
I thought Doctor would do the prediction result. Oops.
Are the movesets also a little different in Wilting Y?
There's your prediction points, baby.
Upwards of completely different.
My coin flip was tails. Aww.
Abilities have changed for some Pokemon.
So you guys are trying to trick me.
Like if you want, you can go to. You can look online for Wilting Y, and you can
it's playing Wilted Rye Y.
Figure out
cool.
like all the moveset differences, and I'm also playing it on intensity mode.
Pokemon Boy over here.
Title, which also makes it.
You guys ready to get some points?
Like the gym leaders, the AI.
You guys ready to see me? We're not doing a Pokédex thing. We'll do one tomorrow maybe.
All this other stuff.
Yeah, before you guys say bye-bye to me.
So no.
We'll just say bye-bye. I don't know. I love you guys. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. It's nice seeing you, Chi, after so long, and everyone else, of course. See you guys. Oh no! Wait! No! Wait, guys, wait.
It worked because you can see that the attack right here.
I gotta run the credits.
Here's max out. It's a little bit of special defense.
The credits are.
See the bar on the far right is.
Credits are not running. Everything's going wrong today.
Did we heal?
Oh no! The credits would run.
We're going back to heal.
The credits.
Also, Ivysaur evolved, but.
I'm an idiot. There we go.
That's interesting. When you evolve a Pokemon.
Yeah, let's go red.
Was it? Hold on. Ivysaur?
I'm so stupid. Oh, this is stuff.
Maybe it was just like a weird thing. Hold on. Who was that? Ping Pong Master. Hey, man, it's been a long time. How's it going? Hope your stream went all right. Oh,